Live from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Fox Sports Ohio presents Cincinnati Reds baseball. The Reds are trying to lock down third place in the National League Central. The Florida Marlins still have designs on first place in the East or a wild card slot. It's the Florida Marlins against the Cincinnati Reds on Fox Sports Ohio. Hi, hello, and welcome to Cincinnati, everyone. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch, I'm George Grant. Reds have played well, especially at home of late. The Marlins have played well enough to still be in the race.
Well, George, they're doing pretty good. I mean, they're 10 games over 500. They've got a payroll of $39 million, so they've done a lot with a very little. But you see where they are right there. And in the wild card standings, when you're in third place, a couple of teams ahead of you, you're 4.5 games out. This series is very, very important to the Marlins. They just came through St. Louis, where they took 2 out of 3. They're on a roll. They're expecting to roll over the Cincinnati Reds, too.
One of the reasons they're on a roll offensively is because of a shortstop that's had a career kind of year. He's been something else, Hanley Ramirez.
Well, with no Albert Pujols in the league, this guy would be a hands-down MVP. He's going to get plenty of votes, obviously, but Pujols really negates a lot of other people. But Ramirez means everything to this offense. He's a guy that leads the league in multiple hit games, which means he gets 1 every 3 games. In fact, he figures he's going to get 2 in this series. This guy can hit long balls. He hits for batting average. He gets on base. He's really the spoke that keeps it going here for the Marlins.
Add to that, very much improved defense. He's been outstanding defensively for the Marlins this year, and you've got the complete package in Hanley Ramirez. The package for the Reds on the mound will be coming up next. Won't be Johnny Cueto, it'll be Matt Maloney. We'll tell you why when we return after these messages.
Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Very pleasant night for baseball. Paul Yanis signing a couple of baseballs and gloves down along the first base line for the Reds as we prepare for game one of this 4-game set. Very important for the Reds as they try to latch on to third place. And very important for the Marlins as they try to stay in the postseason race. Our beep Jeep pitching matchup, it won't be Johnny Cueto. He's got a touch of the flu, so it'll be Matt Maloney, Chris.
Well, they hope that Johnny Cueto is feeling a little bit better, but he certainly is. If you've had the flu, you know how it leaves you very, very tired. That's why they decided to pitch Matt Maloney for the first time in 10 days. Maloney will be out on the mound. He pitched last against the Colorado Rockies, did a real good job until a blister forced him out of the ball game, and the Reds ended up losing that ball game 3-1. Anibal Sanchez is a right-hander who's a little bit of a control pitcher, changes speeds, coming back off shoulder surgery last year. He's only made 12 starts this year. 5 innings max is what they're going to leave him out there, so we got a lefty-righty matchup tonight.
That's your beep Jeep pitching matchup. The Reds starting pitching one part of the story, but boy, the bullpen has sure been pulling its weight of late. Take a look at it. National League ranks this season for the Reds in earned run average. They've been either 2, 3, or 4 all season long. Chris, that's been solid.
Well, this is what health can do for you. Remember, everywhere else around on this Reds roster, they have been beleaguered with injuries. I mean, injuries to starting players. And when you start putting your reserves out there, it really shows. But the bullpen has been healthy for the most part all year long, especially the back end of the bullpen. Cordero and Rhodes and Massett and Weathers when he was here. All these guys have contributed mightily. This is one of the bright spots of this 2009 season.
First in save percentage, thanks in no small part to the bottom end of that bullpen. Here's the starting end of the rotation today. Ramirez and the Florida Marlins. Cast an eye on these Marlins who are angling for the playoffs. Next on Fox Sports Ohio. Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, being brought to you by Chrysler. The Chrysler summer clearance is here. Get to your Chrysler dealer today for some of the best deals of the season. By State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Dodge, grab life. By Just for Men, stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. And by Skyline Chili. You know it's Skyline time when you get that craving for a Skyline 3-way or cheese conies. Or some of the best weather of the year has been saved for this month of September here at Great American Ballpark. Another very fine night for baseball as the Reds try to keep their home winning streak alive and try to put a crimp in the playoff plans of the Florida Marlins. Game one of this 4-game set. Edinson Volquez once again exchanging the lineup card for the Reds at home. And whatever works, Chris, for Dusty Baker. He's tried everybody. They've had winning streaks and losing streaks. They hope Matt Maloney can keep a winning streak going at home as he'll get the ball for the Reds tonight.
Yeah, that's what works, George. You know, you can go with luck all you want, but it takes really good pitching to win ball games, and Dusty Baker's found that out. On those games that his team has won, he's usually had his starting pitcher go out and do the job, be able to hand it over to the bullpen, and systematically those guys out in the pen seem to get it done. Matt Maloney, you know he's biting at the bit to get back out there because it's been 10 days since he was out. He had a blister problem that forced him out of his last ball game, a game in which he was throwing better than any other start he has up here in the major leagues. Only 25 years old, he's going to rely on a fastball that cuts a little bit into right-handers, but he's got an outstanding changeup and a good curveball. Hopefully Maloney will keep the ball down and keep this very high-powered, potent offense of the Florida Marlins in the ballpark tonight.
Here's your U.S. Bank starting lineup for the man who come in from Florida for Freddie Gonzalez. It'll be Chris Coghlan, and when you take a look at it, the bottom line is he's a bona fide candidate for Rookie of the Year. He's an outstanding all-around baseball product, over 300. Nick Johnson, the former Washington National and Montreal Expo, is in the number 2 spot. He was a late acquisition. He's healthy again, hitting over 300, although he's nursing a pulled hamstring right now. Hanley Ramirez, an MVP kind of year at third, so you're getting the idea about the offense. Take a look at the top of this lineup, including Jorge Cantu, who's always hit well against the Reds. Dan Ugla, home run power at second. He hits behind Cantu. Cody Ross, who's had a tremendous season with the bat and with the glove. Ronnie Paulino, solid at 268. Brett Carroll, maybe the best defensive outfielder on this club, will be in right. And Anibal Sanchez, the pitcher, bats in the number 9 position. So we're ready for baseball as Matt Maloney gets the ball, and for Matt Maloney, it won't be a stranger that he'll face. He's facing Chris Coghlan. These two guys played with each other at Ole Miss, so how often do you see that, Chris?
Well, you don't see it very often at all. How about these guys who know each other pretty well? Of course, it's interesting that Coghlan would even be there because he is not a guy that they would expect to be a leadoff hitter. Came up in about the month of May, and he has been outstanding ever since. They've asked him to do two things differently. One, play the outfield, and the other, lead off, and he's done very well on both.
Take a look at the numbers. 303, 9 homers, 42 knocked in. Setting up down and away is Hannigan. That drifts on the inside part of the plate for a strike. Those numbers pretty impressive. He is number 1 in hits, runs, total bases, and on-base percentage. Number 2 in average among rookies, and he'll get another base hit. He had 47 hits in the month of August. That was number 1. That got him Rookie of the Month. And that's now 84 hits. And since the All-Star break, it's been outstanding for Chris Coghlan. Here's your Ford defensive alignment for the Reds. Hot-hitting Johnny Gomes is over in left. Darnell McDonald gets the start in center. And Jay Bruce over in right. Roland Janisch, Phillips Votto across the infield. And behind the plate, Ryan Hannigan. That's your Ford defensive alignment for Cincinnati. So Coghlan continues to do what he's done since coming up. And that's get on base, a single. And here's Nick Johnson in at 302. Johnson, a late acquisition for this ball club. And when he's right, Chris, an outstanding hitter. He's had, the broken leg problem, hip problem, hamstring problem, hand problem, you name it. It's put him on the disabled list. When he's healthy, he's an outstanding offensive player.
Now, this guy works the count about as well as anybody in baseball. I mean, he'll work it, and you look up, and all of a sudden it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. That's why it's important to go right after him with strikes early in the count. Way more strikeout, way more bases on balls than strikeouts, and there are some people in this Marlin organization that feel like he's changed the approach of the whole team, the way they take their at-bats since the arrival of Nick Johnson.
Maloney to the stretch. That's bounced right back off the glove of Maloney. He'll have to go to first, and they'll get the out. If he feels it cleanly, he's got a good chance for 2. And if he misses it, there's a good chance for 2, because right behind him was Janisch ready to gobble it up. Steve Ballmer's going to come out and check him out and make sure he's okay. He's got a big smile on his face to Janisch saying, I'm okay.
Got him on the glove. It looked like all the way, maybe the foot, but I think he got some glove on that, and he's up there laughing, so there'd be no problem at all. But, all the things you just said, if you let it go, it's a double play. You don't necessarily know that. That's a shin burger. That's not off the glove at all, but he's going to be all right after that. But you don't think about those things as a pitcher. I mean, the ball comes back at you so quickly, you react. The first thing you try to do is get your glove down. When you can't do that, you try to get your leg out of the way. And he was fortunate that he knocked it down and close enough to be able to get an out of it. That's all Dusty Baker needs, is to to go to his bullpen here in the first inning after having lifted Matt Maloney out of his last start. He's not going to let that happen to him tonight.
Maloney had a blister in Denver, and he was rolling along. It looked like he was just getting into a groove when he didn't even tell his manager or his pitching coach that it was developing until he could go no further. And a big blister that covered almost the complete front pad of his middle finger. Since then, he's undergone treatment for it. He says it's fine. He doesn't expect it to be a problem here tonight, but you never know, Chris. After you've had one, it could pop up again.
Yeah, and you know, after you pitch long enough, you develop a callus. But if you pitch too long with it, it develops such a hard callus that there's a blister that forms underneath it. And in Denver, it's very likely that it happened because you grip the ball a little tighter there. You're trying to spin the ball more. He gets it when he throws his little cutter, which he runs his middle finger right on that seam, tries to cut that ball into right-handers, and that's the culprit as far as that blister goes.
Well, here's the culprit in the lineup for the Florida Marlins. You name it, he's done it this year. He leads the league in hitting. He's been outstanding. Comes in at .357, 23 homers, 1 run batted in away from 100. And he's their leading hitter with runners in scoring position. So a lethal weapon for the Marlins. When we first saw him, Chris, and he came up, and you know the story, he was in the trade from the Boston Red Sox that sent Beckett and company to Boston. So the Red Sox got what they wanted. They got a world championship. I don't know that anyone realized at that point how good this young man would be. He's gotten better and better offensively. And defensively, he's had his best year yet. There was a time, I think, Chris, you and I believe that he'd probably end up in center field. It didn't look like he'd be able to improve at short, but he's gotten a lot better at short.
I think he led the world, at least as far as shortstops in errors last year. He's only committed 9 this year. So that's one area in which he's really progressed favorably. And, you know, when we saw him when he was a farmhand of the Boston Red, he was just a skinny little kid. I mean, how do you project him to become the kind of power hitter that he is? It's amazing.
Giannis will hold the runner, and they'll get Ramirez. And there have been a couple of scouts that have remarked to me that, you know, you look at Hanley Ramirez and look at Alcides Escobar, the young shortstop coming up from Milwaukee. They see the same thing in him, and maybe even more athleticism than they saw in Ramirez. So maybe 3 years from now we'll check back and see were they right about the young shortstop for the Brewers, who we'll see a lot of next year.
You can keep the athleticism. Give me that .360 batting average.
Sitting out at second is Coghlan. Maloney trying to get out of this first inning jam. He'll face Jorge Cantu. Cantu in at .280, 15 homers, and 87 knocked in. Cantu's always been a Reds killer. This native of McAllen, Texas, known for football country. He's been outstanding in a Reds uniform too. He swung a pretty impressive bat against the Reds in his career. He's at .340 with 4 homers and 8 knocked in. Reds were only in Florida for a brief 2-game series. The Marlins coming here for a 4-game set in September. Next year the Reds will face the Marlins the first month of the season, second week of the season, 4 games down in Florida. A little bit low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The umpiring crew, Billy Miller behind the plate, Adrian Johnson at first, Darrell Cousins the crew chief at second, and Jim Joyce over at third.
Pretty good idea right there by both Ryan Hannigan, the catcher, and Maloney. Maloney's thrown a lot of strikes, only 3 balls and 10 strikes so far out of the 13 that he's dished up there. A lot of off-speed pitches too. He knows that this is a very good fastball hitting club the Marlins have. I mean, they average about 5 runs a game. The Reds average about 4 runs a game. So, you know, if you're a Marlins pitcher, you stand on the mound at the beginning of the game and you say, hey, I've got a 5-0 lead right now because that's how many runs my team can score. And this guy has been really the glue that has kept this team together. Jorge Cantu, somewhat of a Reds cast-off. He's a guy that has battled through a wrist injury for the most part of this year that has really hurt his home run power quite a bit. He had 29 home runs last year. He's only got 15 this year. And mainly due because he's played with that bad left wrist.
Adapted to it, going the other way a lot more this year, and gone for base hits more than long ball. Looped into right. Here comes Bruce. He squeezes it. That'll do it. Leadoff hit by Coghlan. Nothing to show for it. Reds go to work. McDonald will lead it off. Four-game set. Let's check our U.S. Bank starting lineup for Dusty Baker and the Reds. It'll be Darnell McDonald in the leadoff spot. Stubbs gets the night off to start tonight. Paul Janisch bats number 2. Joey Votto in the number 3 hole. Brandon Phillips will hit cleanup for the Reds. Then Scott Rowland. Johnny Gomes, what a streak he's on. 20 homers for his career. Bruce Hannigan and Maloney, that's 1 through 9. And here's Anibal Sanchez.
Well, Anibal Sanchez makes his 13th start of the year. He's about 2.5 years removed from shoulder surgery. Major shoulder surgery that sidelined him really on and off throughout this season as well. Had a couple of setbacks where they diagnosed it as a sprained shoulder. And they've got a couple of guys on this team coming back from surgery that they really have to watch their pitch counts and, to make sure that they don't get abused coming back. He's one of them. Won 10 games his rookie year back in 2006. He was 10-3 that year with a very fine 2.8 earned run average. And it was 2007 in which he blew out his shoulder and was operated on.
And the more and more that you talk to trainers and doctors, Chris, the more and more you realize two things. Many doctors now, many trainers for teams are going an extra 3 months before they start the rehab process, and many of them believe it's almost 2 full years before you can come back 100% from that surgery.
I've never gone through shoulder surgery, George, but I'll tell you, a lot of times if you bring a guy back too early and you watch him pitch, you can tell just by his delivery. It doesn't seem free and easy. It doesn't seem loose in his shoulder. You can almost tell that he's had shoulder surgery. The idea is to let him recover to the point where when he does come back and throw, it looks natural. Sanchez, at least tonight, looks pretty natural to me.
Mark Wiley, his pitching coach, said it's been 1 good start, 1 bad start. And he said if you go by what he has done in the past, this should be a good start. And there you see it. Saturday against Washington, 4 2/3, 6 hits, 2 runs. Before that, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs. So the odd, even, on, off, this should be an on for him. High in the air to left. Did he get enough of this? Going back is Coghlan at the wall, looking up. It's going to be gone. A leadoff bomb from Darnell, and the Reds lead it 1-0. That's the way to start. Well, there's reason to celebrate in the stands, and there's reason to celebrate in the McDonald household, too. 3rd leadoff homer for the Reds this year. 2 from Drew Stubbs, the last one in the last series, and here's the first for Darnell.
Now, he got a hanging slider that came right into the BP slot right there. Darnell would dream about hitting balls like that. Love to see it happen to a young man like Darnell McDonald. Wonderful young man, and he leads it off with a home run to put the Reds on the board.
That's a way to make an impression. You start in a leadoff spot. Well, here's Giannis. It's a nice trek up and down the dugout after you hit one of those, isn't it?
Oh, you know what? If you can really milk it out and go maybe 2 or 3 times.
That's right.
So they finally tell you, sit down.
Yeah, okay.
It was a solo shot.
All right, hot dog. It's only the first inning. Enjoy it. He deserves it. Here's Dusty Baker's son, Darren, who's with the club. That's a fair ball into the left field corner. Giannis around first, digging to second. He'll cruise in with his 18th double of the season and hold there.
Paul Giannis had a game the other night where he had 3 doubles in that ball game, and he just starts this ball game off for himself with a double right down the third base line. Clearly fair as it goes right over the bag and down into the corner. So 2 batters, and the Reds have hit Sanchez hard with both of them.
So another runner for the Reds. Darnell McDonald homers. He clears them all. Giannis sitting at second with nobody out. And here's Joey in at 305. 21 homers, 70 knocked in. After 2 subpar months in July and August, more like what you expect from Joey Votto. He comes in over 300 for this month of September. And with runners in scoring position, he continues to be the best for the Reds at 325. Brandon Phillips behind him at 291. And Johnny Gomes at 313. Ronnie Polino out to give his right-hander a boost.
You can see some of the gestures and the body language behind the plate by Polino. It looks like he's really trying to encourage Sanchez. Maybe he warmed him up and didn't look like he had a lot of stuff. He doesn't have much movement on his fastball, not like what we were used to seeing. Trying to get it done with breaking balls and change-ups. It's a good 2-0 fastball right there, though.
And a good pitch to take a whack at. Joey did and fouls it off. 2-1. 7-game hitting streak for Joey, and during that streak over 400. That's boosted his average over 300. And a roller coaster year for the Reds first baseman, trying to end it strong. And boy, did he end it strong last year. Had the feeling when the year ended last year he finished just shy of 300. And the only reason why he did was that he ran out of games. The way he was hitting, you figured he'd be over 300 if he had another 3 or 4 ball games. 2-2. And we'll go full 3 balls and 2 strikes with Phillips on deck.
Well, earlier in the year when the Reds played the Marlins down in Miami, Joey Votto was a one-man wrecking crew. He was 4 for 7, had an on-base percentage against the Marlins of .727 during that series in Miami.
On base for the walk here. As your core defensive alignment for the Marlins. The Marlins come in 13th in the league defensively. They've committed 94 errors to 86 for the Reds. Chris Coghlan very solid in left. Cody Ross has been playing Gold Glove caliber in left, right, and center. And Brett Carroll is solid wherever you put him. Cantu in for his bat at third. Ramirez and Uglo the double play combo, and Johnson over at first. Molino behind the plate. That's your forward defensive alignment. Here's Brandon speaking about reaching numbers. Phillips has reached the 20 home run plateau. He already passed the 20 stolen base plateau against Florida this year in at 364. And 11 runs batted in away from 100 for the year. Still nobody out in the inning. A homer, a double, and a walk for the Reds, with Rolen on deck. bounced off the arm of the pitcher. They'll get an out at first. The runners will advance to second and third. So Yanish down to third, Votto off to second, and here comes Roland.
Now they're going to go out and check out Anibal Sanchez to make sure that he's all right. Freddie Gonzalez, the manager's running out along with the trainer just to make sure that, like the Reds pitcher, getting hit here with a ball in the first inning. This time off it's the pitcher's forearm. Looks like Mike Kozak, Marlins trainer, out there.
Might have got the glove and then the right forearm. He said he's all right, so here comes Roland. Scott's in at 263, couple of homers, 14 knocked in as a Cincinnati Red. There is no way to minimize his importance since coming over to this ball club and getting back in the lineup after suffering a concussion his first week with the club. There's a look at the forearm where it looked like the ball glanced off of.
Looked like it got him right there, which is a lot better than if it were to hit him right there. You don't want it on the elbow.
Balls, no strikes. Freddie Gonzalez talking before the game today, saying two keys to his ball club and playing better in the second half. Number one is Wes Helms, the way he's played and his leadership, and number two is Nick Johnson. Johnson being on the field every day has helped Coughlin adapt as a rookie and help some of the young players understand what it takes to win. Here's the 3-0. Yeah, numbers are important, but it's all about putting it all together. And just as the Marlins have some young players that Freddie Gonzalez is trying to help them learn how to play the game the right way, that's the same story for Walt Jocketty, Dusty Baker bringing Scott Rowland in. Three and one. Popped up right side, giving chase Johnson. He'll run out of room.
You know, George, I asked that same question today. What has Scott Rowland meant to the Reds of some of the players who were at the Reds season ticket holders luncheon today? And there was Adam Rosales was there, and Paul Yanish was there, or Drew Stubbs was there, and Chris Dickerson, and also Homer Bailey. And the infielder said, oh, he's helped me with my approach, and he's a leader, and I watch how he practices. And this is what Rosales was saying. Homer Bailey said, everything to the left side of the infield's an out.
Yep.
That's what he's meant to me. So everybody has a little different perspective of what Scott Rowland means to this ball club, but all of it is positive.
There's a walk right there. That'll load the bases with one out, and here comes Johnny Gomes, the Reds' number 2 hitter with runners in scoring position at 313. Here's Johnny. What a year for him. 20 homers, 49 knocked in, and a 272 average for a guy that didn't start the club the year with the big club. Mark Wiley, the pitching coach, out to check on Sanchez. No action in the bullpen yet, but like we talked about, Wiley saying before the game, you know, he's not sure what he's going to get from Sanchez. He said he feels he's close to being back 100% after his arm surgery. But they want to make sure he's okay and make sure that you make one pitch. One pitch you can get out of it, or one pitch the Reds could open this one up big.
Well, one pitch they've already hit for a home run, and it's a pitch that's really giving him a lot of problems, is that breaking ball. Before that surgery, one of his go-to pitches in that 10-3 season was that big curveball of his. He's just not finishing it right now. It's kind of rolling up there. There's no better time to hit one when you see a pitcher just kind of rolling up that old curveball.
Here's Johnny, who's hit a couple of those rollers. Big time. 20 homers on the season for Gomes. first on the club in slugging percentage, tied for second in homers, and third in runs batted in, and this in only a partial year.
That would be a cross-up.
You're not kidding.
Ronnie Polino looking for a breaking ball. Sanchez throws a fastball, and Polino's lucky he put a glove on it.
Last night, Johnny Gomes reached the 20 home run plateau with one big swing. And that's part of the story. The other part of the story was before the game, he told Hal McCoy, and Hal was honored before the game last night, I'm going to hit one for you. I'm going to try to hit one for you. And he sure did, and signed it for him, too. A moment and a bat to remember, Chris.
Awesome. Great guy. I mean, Johnny Gomes, you get the feel of what he's like just by watching him on television, even if you've never met him. I mean, he is exactly as he appears. Just a blue-collar kind of a player that just comes to play every day.
2 balls, 1 strike. Popped up in the air, short right field, into the outfield area. No infield fly rule called. Caught by the right fielder and the second out of the inning. There he is. I like his shirt tonight. After last night getting through the speech, he deserved to wear anything he wanted to wear tonight.
You're just politicking to wear your Hawaiian shirt tomorrow night.
I wonder if Tommy Hutton will. Tomorrow night, Tommy Hutton, the color analyst for our brethren down in Florida, will join us. Chris will go over and sit with them for an inning. And Hut has some pretty colorful shirts. I don't know whether he'll wear one tomorrow night. We'll have to check on dress code. We'll have to check with the vice president in charge of dress code.
He can get away with that. So can you. You guys, both of you guys have like eternal tans.
Yeah.
The South Beach look, George Graham.
That'll kick
you got to
over.
have your own line of clothing.
We tried to do that, didn't we? But we're back to coats and ties.
Yeah.
There's Tommy. And one of the good things, see, he can talk and eat at the same time. That's important. Former major leaguers like you and him can do that. What an outstanding first baseman he was. You hit it down to first base when he was there, he smothered it. There's Jay, 2-0, trying to get back into a groove. Bruce at 209, 18 homers. And still searching to find a groove since coming back after the broken wrist.
Yeah, you know, when a hitter's in his groove and he gets a 2-0 fastball, waist high the way Jay Bruce did right there, you're usually all over it. He's a hair late right there. Don't know whether he's picking it up right or just not in the right rhythm yet. I mean, he missed a lot of time.
Broken bat, left field. It'll drop for a hit. 1 run scores. Rounding third, coming to the plate will be Votto. It's a broken bat, not a bullet, but it's a bullet to the heart of the Marlins. 2 runs will score, and the Reds lead at 3-0.
Well, you put the ball in play, good things can happen, and that's exactly what happens right there for Jay Bruce. Got a big hit the other night against the Houston Astros on a bouncer that went between first and second. This time gets jammed a little bit, but hey, who cares? It looks like a line drive in the book. Drives a run in with 2 outs, and a 2-0 lead.
They'll take it. So will the Reds. Giannis taps the plate. Right behind him is Votto. And here's the 8th batter of the inning, Ryan Hannigan, with 2 on and 2 out. Hannigan in at 270, a couple of homers, 9 knocked in. And it was Hannigan who was really in the same spot that Coughlin was in about a little over a month ago. Month and a half ago, about 5.5 weeks ago. He was number 1 or number 2 in average, was there in on base percentage, and the wear and tear of playing every day wore him down, and then suffered a concussion on top of it. Now just trying to build himself back up and finish strong as Ryan Hannigan. No matter how you slice it, though, he's had a good season for the Reds, his first full season up here. Two balls, 1 strike. Not the first inning that Mark Wiley and Anibal Sanchez wanted. Already at 37 pitches. Was right at him, right through his hands.
Hit him in a bad spot.
Yep. The danger of Dick Stewart. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Hannigan will step out. They'll get him, but 8 come to the plate in the first. The Reds deliver with a leadoff homer from Darmel McDonald, a 2-run single from Bruce, and lead it 3-0. Only 254 at bats. That's a little more than half a season. 20 homers, 49 knocked in, a 272 average. Our Elk and Elk storylines brought to you by Elk and Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. What a year for number 31, Chris.
It certainly has been, George, for a guy that didn't expect to get much playing time at all. I mean, came into camp as a non-roster player, didn't make the team, went back down to Louisville and just worked harder than anybody. I mean, it's about spirit. He's got it.
You know, never having spent a lot of time around Johnny Gomes, and here's Danny Ugla to lead it off. Ugla, another solid home run season for him. He steps in with 29 round trippers, 79 knocked in. Cody Ross will follow, then Ronnie Polito. And I mean, you always watched Johnny Gomes when he was in the American League. We'd see him in spring training, and he hit some long shots against the Reds during spring training. And you said, this guy's got some hitting ability, some offensive capabilities. And you looked at numbers, and then you saw him during spring training, and the more you saw him, the more you liked him, because he cared about his teammates. He cared about the way the game was played. And then you wondered, when he didn't make the team, how would he react? He went down to Louisville. Would he just check out? Would he say, I didn't make it, it's over, the season's done? And the thing that impressed me as much as anything was what he did when he went to Louisville. And the first day he was down there, Rick Sweet called him into his office, and basically for a checkup from the neck up, saying, you know, what kind of a guy am I getting here? And from the first words out of his mouth, he made it clear to Rick Sweet that he was there to help the Bats win. And that's what he's about. It's about finding a way to win.
Well, you know, if he had gone down to AAA and checked out, as you say, it would have been over for him. I mean, you're on your last leg when you're in a major league camp as a non-roster player. If you go down to AAA and don't cut it there, you're going home. So he realized his back was up against the wall, believed in himself, and I think that's where it all comes from. He believes in himself, but he also believes that it's a team game.
Douglas strikes out, 1 away. Here's Cody Ross. Cody, Red for a short period of time. Just a solid contributor to this club. Again, over 20 homers. Closing in on 90 runs batted in and a 277 average. And wherever they put him in the outfield, he's been Gold Glove caliber. And we saw that when he was with the Reds. No balls, 1 strike.
He was so brief with the Reds. He was only with the Reds for 2 games, a period of 5 at-bats overall. In fact, before he got put on the disabled list, he actually broke his finger swinging and missing on a 3rd strike. He went on the disabled list, and as soon as he was activated, the next day he was traded down to Florida. But he blossomed down there last year, hit 260. The year before that, he had 335 in 2007 in partial playing time. But he has been as big a part of this Marlin offense as anybody.
And you look at guys like this, you know, guys that are on the fringe that get a chance to play, and you wonder how many other guys are there out there like that don't get the opportunity. You just have to keep hoping that the opportunity will come. For Cody Ross, he's found a home in Florida.
I mean, he's 5 feet 9 inches tall. How many times do you think Cody Ross was told you're too small? Swinging big there.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Maloney, 2 away. And speaking of guys who made the best of it, Johnny Gomes. Johnny hitting the 20 home run plateau. He believes it was important for him, a number that he was shooting for from day number 1.
It was definitely one of my goals going into spring, and I want to be able to do it for my 3rd time in the big leagues. And then when I got sent down, I was like, I'm going to have to grind to get it now. Didn't really keep my eyes off it, but just really wanted the opportunity to get the chance to not do it. If I get the opportunity to not do it, then I think I can do it. And but 19 is not a slouch either, you know, so 20, everyone's making a big deal of 20, but, you know, I'm happy with it.
You should be, Johnny. 2 away, here's Polino in at 268, 8 homers, 26 knocked in.
Well, one thing that Matt Maloney is doing perfectly tonight is just changing speeds wonderfully. Hitting that outside corner with a nice changeup, 77 miles an hour. His fastball up around 90, 91. Nice easy motion for a guy that's had 10 games off. He's very, very sharp.
Boy, how about that for a painting? Picture perfect sky here in the Queen City. Giannis can't get to this. That's a bouncer into the outfield, a base hit. Hit number 2 for the Marlins, a 2-out single, and here comes Brett Carroll. September skies look special, don't they?
Yeah, they're in a way they're very sad. The summer's coming to an end. I hate to say it, but cold weather can't be far away.
You're thinking about raking leaves already, aren't you?
I don't want to do that. That's why they make backpack blowers.
That's right. They're the best invention that ever came.
Oh, maybe.
Outstanding.
Best since wheels on luggage.
In refrigerators. Here's Brett at 265, 3 homers, 14 knocked in. You're long.
I thought for a moment you said kegerators.
You still have one of those in your garage, don't you? That misses inside. 1-1. You look up and down this lineup, it's been pretty solid. I mean, the numbers offensively tell you that. They are 3rd in the league at run production. The Reds are 15th in the league, and they don't do it just with homers. They've hit about the same number of home runs that the Reds have hit. They have 148. The Reds now have 142. But they have a better on-base percentage. They take walks, and they do a lot of the little things that the Reds didn't do earlier in the year.
Well, they have some guys in their lineup, especially towards the middle of the lineup, whose on-base percentage is really, really high, like Ramirez at 422. But you get production all the way down the number 8 and 9 spot here. I mean, or at least the 8 spot. Brett Carroll, on-base percentage 327. He's only hitting 265, but he's an excellent defender. And they've got other pieces that they can move in and out of there. I think the thing that really strikes me about the Marlins is that they're in contention. They're 4.5 games out, but they have done it with a payroll of less than $40 million. And they have some very good players in the pipeline, you know, maybe a year or two ready to be impact players in the major leagues. So this is not the last that you will hear of the Florida Marlins by any means.
And obviously we've been talking about this like it seems forever, but they do now finally have a new ballpark on the horizon. They broke ground. It's more than 2 years away from the new park. In fact, they've even started a countdown already. 3-2, 2 outs. That'll be foul down the third base line.
And that'll be a retractable roof stadium, very much like they say Minute Maid Park is down in Houston.
Side of the old Orange Bowl down in Miami.
Only somewhere around 37 to 38,000 people, so it'll be a relatively small park. The idea is to make the tickets, you know, tough to get.
Do they? You think that'll solve the problem? Will it make?
Oh, it'll help a lot. It'll help tremendously.
Down to third, but foul again.
Well, where that ballpark is now, it's right on the Dade County, Broward County line. So it's a fair, pretty far drive, you know, from Miami, and it's quite a ways from a lot of the population center, you know, north Broward County. It's hot. I mean, when the Marlins come up here and they play in 77 to 80 degree weather, they think it's a winter time. I mean, it is blistering hot down there, and humidity will eat you alive.
3-2, looped into center. That'll drop for a hit. With the runner Polino going, he'll go all the way to third, so it's first and third. So 2 straight strikeouts to start the inning. Then a Polino single and a Brett Carroll 3-ball 2-strike single. And here comes the pitcher with 2 on and 2 out.
Well, if nothing else, what the Marlins have been able to do is they've got the pitcher to the plate in this inning, so that next inning, if he makes an out, you start the lineup over with the leadoff man.
Here comes Sanchez with 2 outs, runners at first and third. On the season, 15 at bats and no hits as yet. Field. Here comes Bruce, playing him perfectly in shallow, will haul it in. So 2 hits, nothing to show for it. Going to the bottom of 2. Matt Maloney will lead it off. What a picture-perfect painting of a sky above Cincinnati. Reds baseball brought to you by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. By JTM, food, family, and fun. JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Jeep. The Jeep summer clearance is here. Get to your Jeep dealer today for some of the best deals of the season in your beep-beep Jeep. Boy, how could you not believe in something greater than all of us when you look at a sky like that? Man, that's unbelievable. Great to have you with us, George Grand, Chris Welsh, and our entire crew here. Jim Day will be by for Reds Live post-game. Guess what? Wilkin Castillo, Danny Richard back after their DL stints, and he don't know it, does he?
He says, hey, everybody's laughing with me, right? Nobody's laughing at me. They wouldn't do that. The oldest trick in baseball. You see it every September more than ever.
I guess bubblegum's a lot safer than the hot foots of the old days, huh? Here's Maloney. Matt at 286. No homers, no one knocked in. And they're not messing around with him. A little breaking ball. He gets some wood on it. 3-1's you're put out, and there's one away. Back up to Darnell McDonald. Our Geico quote of the day comes from Coco Cordero. Post game yesterday, he did it again. Chris, you always say it, you got to get saves when you can get it. Here's Coco talking about the way this club has responded.
Everybody know what they're doing down there. That they've been doing a great job all year long. I mean, it seems like everybody, even guys that come from AAA, they put them in again and they do their job. I mean, there's something special that we got going on in the bullpen, and the starter too. They go and they're pitching pretty well, giving the team the chance to score some runs, and we're doing it, and then we're winning some games.
We showed you the numbers earlier. 37 saves on the season now for Coco, and sometimes Chris, you'll go 2 weeks without a save opportunity. Sometimes you get 3 or 4 in a week. When you get them, you got to go for them.
Yeah, you know what I liked about those comments most of all by Cordero was the fact that he used the word "we" a lot, and that's really what happens in a bullpen. I mean, good bullpens develop like their own team down there. They're going to show everybody that we're a united team, and if they're beleaguered one time, or a guy's got a sore arm, or he's tired and he's been used 3 or 4 days in a row, he needs a day off, and he still takes the ball and goes out there. He does it for himself, but he also does it for his other guys down in the bullpen. There's like, hey, you give me this inning and I'll come in and pick you up in the next inning. And that's really what they have had going down there all year long. Of course, now they're bolstered with more bodies than before with the September call-ups, but so there was a time there that they were awfully tired. The Reds ran through a stretch where their pitchers were getting injured early in the game, getting knocked out of the box, and Dusty Baker had to figure out a way to cover a lot of innings with bullpen.
Bullpen's done its job. You see Edinson Volquez there, that right arm still wrapped. The hope is if everything goes on schedule, he'll be back sometime next year. Would be second half of the year possibly, but he could possibly go the full year next year and not be back.
Well, he showed me today it feels great. I mean, he took the sleeve off. He said, hey, I can straighten it out completely and I can bend it completely. And of course, he's doing rehab every day. It'll be a long year. I mean, when you rehab something that long, it's more of a mental thing than it is physical. I mean, you can go through the rehab and wear your arm out in no time, but as far as trying to stay alert and on the beam as far as baseball goes, it's a tough thing to do.
There goes Darnell. Check swing fouled off.
Boy, he had a big jump right there. Sanchez really not paying much of attention to him at all. Right now, it seems like Anibal Sanchez is more worried about his pitching and where he's throwing the ball to the plate than anything else. And he's not really giving much of a mind to the runner at first base. He's already crossed his catcher up one time. There are bigger things going on in his mind right now than Darnell McDonald at first base.
So no balls, 2 strikes. Darnell inches off the bag at first. Sanchez will check over to him. It'll kick away, but Darnell will hold there. Don't forget, coming up, another inning or so, we'll be joined by Aaron Harang. We'll talk Reds baseball in his season. Coming up tomorrow, Tommy Hutton will join us, coming over from the Marlins broadcast booth. Also tomorrow we'll visit with Jamel Elliott, the brand new women's basketball coach at the University of Cincinnati. We look forward to introducing you to her tomorrow and talk a little women's hoop as well. And in between, hopefully the Reds can keep winning at home. There's Giannis, no balls and 2 strikes. By the way, Chris had a chance to spend some time with former Cincinnati coach Bob Huggins today. He sends his best to Jesse Jackson and Daddy Wags and you.
I didn't know you and Hugs were running mates.
Not running mates, just respect for a competitor. I've known him for a lot of years, and certainly his name will always be linked to success in Cincinnati sports. Now the West Virginia head coach. No balls, 2 strikes. That's ripped foul and into the seats down the left field line. And don't forget, for every Red the Run score, we'll cha-ching a Shakely Group honor for you. Another $25 from Shakely. That'll go to the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. 3 already today. The Reds lead at 3-0. 1 out, 1 on for Cincinnati here. McDonald going, swing and a miss. The throw will be short, and it's a stolen base for Darnell. A strikeout of Giannis and a stolen base, his first since coming back up for Darnell.
Had a big lead and a big jump right there. You see, he had 4 steps going, not giving Polino a chance at all to throw the runner out. But Sanchez gets a strikeout, and the way he's been working it, and it's been a tough couple of innings for him. He's just trying to get it out at a time. 52 pitches now. Here he is with 2 outs in the 2nd inning.
So a runner in scoring position for Joey Votto, who walked first time up. But Joey's number is still the same. He continues to lead the Reds with a .325 average with runners in scoring position. Eventually scored on the base hit by Jay Bruce in the 1st.
If you're Joey Votto, you're thinking right now that Sanchez has missed back-to-back pitches, 1 a slider, 1 a changeup. Up in the zone, he's kind of getting his body out in front of his arm. The only pitch he's been able to throw for a strike consistently is a fastball. So get it ready.
Check swing. Ramirez back. He'll get there. Almost snuck it in for a base hit, but Hanley Ramirez hauls it in. The Reds threaten, don't score. They still lead at 3-0. Tonight's game, Jay Klein of Trenton, Ohio, is going to win it. Register for your chance to win during an upcoming game at your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. I don't know, Chris. I know that Joey Votto hit one right over that sign, and I'm not sure, but Aaron Harang's homer might have gotten close to the Tundra sign here, don't you think?
I don't know. Maybe we should ask him how close he thought that home run really was. Yeah. Aaron, good to see you.
How's it going?
Aaron Harang joins us up in the booth to talk a little baseball. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks.
How you feeling?
Good.
After
Very good.
Appendicitis, the appendectomy?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Finally cleared me to start doing activities, so finally started lifting again and doing some cardio.
We're on the road in Pittsburgh, and you have a rough night, wake up and know something's wrong, huh?
Yeah, it was about 6:30 in the morning. I woke up and it just wasn't feeling right, and, ended up falling back asleep after a while, but got up later in the a little later in the morning and just knew something was wrong, so called the trainers, and they told me to come into the field, and they checked me out for about 2 minutes and said, okay, let's go to the hospital. So
now the choice is you either have it done in Pittsburgh or you do go home.
Yeah, it was
fly ball to left, going back, looking up as Gomes at the warning track. It's off the wall. Rounding first, going to second is Coghlan, and he'll stay there. How about Chris Coghlan? He's 2 for 2. He leads National League rookies in hits. And there's a double. He's got a single and a double tonight.
He liked to hit this ballpark because that ball probably goes to die on the warning track down in Miami. But he showed in batting practice, if you watch him at all, everything he hit was to left field. And he has shown surprising power. 9 home runs. He's not the kind of swing that he clears his hips and hits the ball out of the ballpark to right field. But, boy, that's a dangerous hitter that stays behind the ball like that. And for a young guy, he's got a chance to be a real good one.
Outstanding young hitter who's had a great second half. You haven't had a chance to pitch against him yet, but he's been pretty impressive already.
Yeah, well, with that swing, it looks like he's staying back and threw the ball and really driving it. It's the same thing with Joey. When Joey's going right, I mean, he drives the ball to left field better than anybody around. So
that clips Nick Johnson, so he'll go down to first.
Well, that one had to hurt right there because that looked like it got him right on the inside of the knee. That is a tender spot.
He's been on the disabled list and now back off the DL the 1st of September, and he gets plunked again. Still,
how many guys do you see with a brace on the back leg? Normally you see that protective brace on the front foot. He had it on his left leg. So now he's got a problem with his knee, got a problem with his ankle.
You name it, he's done it to himself, and it's been done to him. And you don't want 2 on with nobody out on this guy to the plate, Hanley Ramirez. I know you've been impressed by this hitter, Aaron.
Oh yeah, he's a very good hitter. He's pretty, but he's aggressive at the same time. But he definitely, obviously, sees the ball well against me as of late. So he got me a couple times early in the year.
In the air, a soft fly ball to center. Who's going to get there? Will Darnell get there? He does. McDonald holds on. It looked like he thought Phillips was going to take charge. He didn't. Darnell finally never quits on it. And I don't know who was calling whom off, but McDonald makes the catch, and the Reds get an out of what could have been a disaster.
Well, that looks like the center fielder's ball all the way if he can get there. At the last minute, it looks like he calls Brandon off. Now, Brandon could have caught that ball. We've seen him make that catch easy. No problem many times. But if the center fielder can get there, it's a much easier play normally. Although a rolling and tumbling catch by Darnell. He's having a good night.
It's a good way to get your uni dirty early, so it looks like you did something tonight, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make Rick Stowe very happy, but it's all right.
Speaking of making Rick Stowe happy, we're visiting with Aaron Harang, and there's 2 on and 1 out. Rick Stowe, one of the Stowe family major domos, and this is what Rick Stowe arrived at the ballpark and got today. A brand new golf cart, and you're not talking about a Mickey Mouse golf cart with clubhouse staff on the front of it. And Aaron didn't know that we knew about it. It was a gift from Aaron Harang to the clubhouse staff. That's how much you think of those guys, and it's also a statement as to the kind of teammate you are too.
Yeah, you know what, those guys, they do so much. People don't realize. I mean, they're here, late hours, and then they'll get up for those day games and they're here early. A lot of times they end up spending the night here. So, I mean, I've been with them since I came over here, and it's just a great group of guys in there. So it was just a way to show my appreciation for what they've done for me and what they put up with from us down the clubhouse. So, I mean, they definitely deserve it, and it's something that they definitely need every day.
To go get lunch.
Oh, yeah, that. But like Mort uses it.
Yep.
To go pick up food for post-game spreads, and they use it to haul the guys down to the bullpen, and so they're constantly hunting for a cart, to use to do that. And it was just, I happened to see one at Jake Sweeney up there on Field Journal, and I kept driving by every once in a while, and I'd see it out there. And finally, when the team was on the last road trip, I went in and talked to those guys, and they got it all set up for me and delivered it this afternoon.
Well, it's a statement about those guys, and they are deserving. They're wonderful workers, every one of them. It's also a statement about you, too.
Yeah, that's a great gesture, Aaron. I'll tell you what, that's something that they can use. People don't realize how big this stadium is until you have to get from one side to the other. And really, from the clubhouse to the bullpen. I mean, if a guy's just going to go get a workout and you can't cut through the field, that's a long walk around there. You can get them out there. The question is, though, do you have an extra set of keys? Because George loves to drive golf carts around. He really does.
That thing's set up pretty good. They told me it can run up to about 35 miles an hour. I mean, it's set up to.
You may have to put a governor on there for Grant because he can get out of control.
They got a low gear there on that thing too. So.
That's big. You can actually drive. You could put a license plate on and drive it. I mean, it's not just a little putt-putt, is it?
Yeah, they said they could put a tag on it and run it in any zone 35 miles an hour and below. That's what they told me up there. So it's got brake lights, turn signals, headlights, horn, all mirrors, everything. So it's pretty loaded.
I'm not sure, but I think Rick was calling home and telling Marcia that he just got a car that she could take the kids around to all the games every weekend too.
Yeah, he was jumping around he was pretty excited. I didn't tell any of them about it, and I just brought it in today and pulled them out in the tunnel there, and they were all going nuts. It was fun.
That's awesome. I hope you don't come back off a road trip in the near future and see that thing painted elder purple.
Yeah.
They'll get a flag anyways. There'll be a flag on it, guaranteed.
Oh, I'm sure they'll find an elder sticker somewhere.
Cantu flies out. Here's Uglo, who struck out looking first time up. How about this guy? What a power-packed, diminutive, yes, in size, but this second baseman has some pop, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. Top to bottom. I mean, up and down in the zone. He'll take that breaking pitch down and away and pull it to left. He'll take that fastball up and in, and he'll turn on it with the best of them.
Now, the pitch he hit out against Adam Wainwright the other night, I was watching. It was a breaking ball down around the shoe tops.
Yeah.
And he just drilled it as they beat Adam Wainwright I mean, if he doesn't win the Cy Young Award, he's one of the top 3 pitchers in the league. They beat him 2-1 for Uglo, his 29th homer of the year.
Yeah, he's just got that short, compact swing that really gets to the ball, and I mean he's a strong guy. You can tell the way he's built. But he gets that bat through the zone and real quick. And
guys with arms that short are tough to get inside on, aren't they?
They are. They can just tuck those hands right in there and turn on the ball with the best of them.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away with 2 on. Down the left field line. If it's fair, it's trouble. It's curving. It will be foul by no more than 3 or 4 feet. The only question was, would it keep hooking? It did, and Maloney came within this eyelash of being in a tie ball game. Almost on cue, huh? Got it up a little bit, and can he keep it fair? Try it again, 2-2. Double by Conklin. Johnson hit by a pitch. They're still on. That's up and in. And we'll go full 3-2. We're visiting with Aaron Harang, Reds pitcher on the disabled list after his appendectomy. By the way, the postscript to all of this was Rick Stowe that drove you from Pittsburgh back to Cincinnati, huh?
Yeah, I was talking with my wife a little while ago, and was telling her maybe I should have just given it to him for getting me here alive.
He got you here in good shape.
Yeah, he did.
3-2. And to right, going back, Bruce at the warning track. He'll squeeze it. The Marlins will strand 2. They've stranded 5 through 3. The Reds still lead it 3-0. More with Aaron Harang after this.
Yankees.
Saturday afternoons are made for baseball. This week, Fox brings you the National Game of the Week. The Cubs will take on Albert Pujols and the National Central Division-leading Cardinals in a showdown between bitter division rivals. Aramis Ramirez, Derek Lee and company taking on Prince Albert. Fox Saturday Baseball this week at 4, right here on Fox. Here's Brandon. He bounced back to the pitcher first time up. George Grant, Chris Welch. We continue to visit with Aaron Harang, Reds pitcher on the disabled list. And Chris, it sure will be good to see this guy back on the mound again, won't it?
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, this ball club was built this year. If it was going to win, they had to do it with pitching. And it all started with starting pitching, figuring that the starters were pretty well set. They were going to have a good year of it. But you really never know when you're going to have injuries be sidetracked, especially the quirky injuries the Reds have had. You know, concussions, twisted ankles, guys on the disabled list with knee surgeries like Ramon Hernandez, and I guess no more strange one than yours, Aaron, with an appendectomy.
Yeah, you know, it was weird. I mean, you could have went down the list. I think every body part, you know, was somebody was hurt or had surgery on, and then all of a sudden, I decided to have my appendix go AWOL on me. So it's, you know, it is weird, but hopefully it's just one of those years where everything happened at once, and you know, we can get over that next year.
You know, when you talk about this team and the strength of this team, Chris mentioned it at the start of the year. Starting pitching was where you would hang your hat, and when you had everybody together, starting pitching was the key to this ball club, wasn't it? Here's a look at the way the starting pitching ranked from the start of the year on. That's a swing and a chip at the top of the bat. Here's another look at the way it went the first 5 weeks of the season, and then May through August, and then August through now. And you had yourself, Bronson Arroyo, Edinson Volquez, Johnny Cueto, the big four together. That was an impressive start to a rotation.
It was. You know, and I mean, hopefully Volquez comes back from this and is only stronger. You know, because I mean, he's getting better. Johnny's getting better. Bronson's going to keep doing what he's doing. I mean, he's done it every year. And once I get healthy and back, I mean, I was starting to figure things out, and you know, this happened. So, you know, hopefully, once we get, you know, everybody back together, I mean, we're gonna compete with everybody in the leagues.
Now, Aaron, when you said you began to figure things out, take us through that a little bit, because you struggled a little bit. You pitched for some very good games where you didn't get very many run support. But at the same time, before you were sidelined with an appendectomy, you were really on some kind of a groove. What made the difference for you?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, I was kind of, when I was splitting my hands, my hands were separating a little late. And so I'm talking with Dick Paul and, talking with some other guys, talking with Arthur, really watching how he really gets his hands split out and ready to go. And so, he was kind of mentioning something to me about it, and I started messing with it and tinkering with it, and it started feeling comfortable. And that's when I kind of started to get on the roll. I was staying back and getting my hands out, and things were working.
That's a call, strike 3 on Scott Rowland. He'll question the home plate umpire, Bill Miller, but here's another look. Judge for yourself. He thought it was outside or even possibly low.
Maybe the way that Ronnie Polino caught that ball didn't really do him any favors right there. Made it look worse than it maybe really was. But all of a sudden, Annabelle Sanchez, who looked like he was on the ropes in the first inning, has struck out 3 of the last 4 batters he's faced. Looks like all of a sudden his body language has changed. Like he's more aggressive now. He just feels a lot better about himself, and he's finishing his pitches.
You've been there before, Aaron. You have a rocky first. If you get through it, it's kind of like you build from that and go from there, don't you, as a starting pitcher?
Yeah, sometimes it just takes figuring a couple things out, maybe rushing a little bit so pitches are up in the zone, and so you kind of step back and cool off a little bit. You get through that first inning, you go and sit in the dugout, think about it. Maybe somebody comes up, mentions something to you that they saw, and then things roll from there.
You've spent a lot of time talking with these young pitchers. You mentioned Cueto and Volquez. They're growing game by game, start by start, huh?
Yeah. What it comes down to is just getting the experience out there in the field. I think that's what really helped me in my career is when I came over here from Oakland. I was kind of coming up and I didn't have a lot of, I wasn't getting a lot of leeway. I came over here, Dave Miley, Don Gullett, they basically called me in the office and said, look, you're going to get 110 pitches. You better go out and get it done. We'll come out and get you when your pitch count's up. So no matter what situations I was in, I had to work out of it, and they really didn't care what the outcome was. So it really helped me build confidence and really learn how to work out of situations.
Johnny Gomes into left. Coghlan can't get it. He stumbles. It goes all the way to the wall. Gomes will round first, go to second. He'll have another double. His 13th double of the season. He's in scoring position with 2 outs.
He got jammed on a fastball his first time up, and I thought he probably went to this at bat saying, you know what, he's not doing that to me again. And he got that bat head working and working quick on that. Quick on the inside pitch. Look how he brought his hands inside to get to that ball, and Coghlan dove at that ball, kind of went after it in a funny way, but any way you play it, that ball's going to be a double.
Well, what a year number 31 has had, Aaron.
Oh, man, he's fun to watch. He's got a great attitude out there. He's always excited and happy to be out here. And if he's not in the game, he's in the dugout cheering guys on and trying to get guys riled up and get out there and have some fun.
There's Jay Bruce, broken bat single, and that produced 2 runs back in the first inning.
Aaron, you've been able to watch, while you've been on the disabled list, a couple of young pitchers have really come along. Johnny Cueto and Homer Bailey. Homer Bailey, especially the last few outings, throwing the ball where he wants to. What have you seen the big difference between them? Because I know you study pitching. You watch these guys when they pitch poorly, when they're taking their bullpens, when they pitch well. What do you see the difference in Bailey and Cueto?
I think the biggest thing is their confidence level. They're getting out there. They're not scared of anybody at the plate. It seems like they have that little chip on their shoulder that it doesn't matter who you throw up there, I'm gonna get you out, and if I don't, I'll get you the next time. So it means a lot. It really helps them progress as pitchers.
Jay down to first, but foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gomes goes back to second.
Seems to me that Homer and Johnny Cueto, for that matter, Johnny Cueto throwing more changeups than he did earlier in the year, but Homer going with, he's going with about 80 to 90% fastballs.
It's amazing. Everybody thinks you got to throw all these other pitches to get guys out, and a well-placed fastball will get anybody out. That's what it comes down to, is if you can throw that fastball where you want, use your 4 quadrants and, move it around in the zone, you can get guys out throwing mainly fastballs.
Hey, we got our baseball movie segment next. You want to stay with us for that?
Definitely.
All right, we'll be back with Aaron Harang after this. Reds lead at 3-0. Aflac trivia question. What team did Moonlight Graham play for? Oh, Moonlight. That's off our movie play for tonight. I remember Moonlight. That's part of one of the movies we'll be talking about tonight for our movie text poll for this evening. Our Aflac trivia question. What team did Moonlight Graham play for? Here's Cody Ross to lead it off as we go to the top of the 4th. Paulino and Carroll will follow. George Grant, Chris Welsh up in the booth with Jesse Jackson, Mark Wagner, our statistician par excellence. Jim Strickler back bringing you the pictures from up here of Cody Ross and company. And we visit with Aaron Harang talking some baseball. Right field going back Bruce. Jay at the warning track. He's got it. Time for our text poll question of the night. For those of you that have been with us, you know that what we've been doing all week in the first round and our play down round. Damn Yankees, bang the drum slowly. That was my favorite. Angels in the outfield and the natural. The natural won there. Then it was Bad News Bears, Major League, a league of their own, and the Sandlot. Upset here, I think, guys. The Sandlot was the winner by 1 percentage point. And 8 men out, Bull Durham, the Babe, and Cobb in the 3rd round. Bull Durham won there yesterday. And tonight, Field of Dreams for the love of the game, 61 in Mr. Baseball. That's the poll you're voting on tonight. Text 1 for Field of Dreams, 2 for love of the game, 3 for 61, and text 4 for Mr. Baseball. And these are the numbers that we have. We started earlier tonight in Reds Live pregame, and while we had a upset 2 nights ago, it doesn't look like there'll be much of an upset today, guys.
That's a heavy favorite, Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to beat.
Ranger, you're a baseball guy. I mean, you don't just pitch, but you love the game. You love the history of the game. You watch the movies. Kevin Costner and company. What do you remember most about that movie?
I think the biggest thing was just when you first see it, you almost feel like everybody else did in the movie. Yep. in his town. And, well, this guy's crazy to build a ballpark in the middle of a cornfield. But there was definitely a point, to him being able to meet his father again by, doing that.
And of course, there is a link to the Reds. It was the Black Sox scandal. Another movie, 8 Men Out, was part of the same story that surrounded this. And the White Sox played the Reds in that 1919 World Series where the scandal allegedly took place. They were acquitted, but they were still banned from baseball. I can't believe how big those corn stalks were, Chris.
They're only made for movies, George.
Okay, that might be it. What do you think so far? The ones that won, the natural one?
Natural, you figure that one's going to win. I was kind of shocked that Major League didn't take over the Sandlot. Bull Durham, you know, that's about as close to realistic as it gets for minor league baseball movies. And I don't know, this last tonight, I mean, it's going to be tough, but you know, it looks like Field of Dreams is definitely out ahead. So
all gearing up for the showdown tomorrow night. The Final Four tomorrow.
I still might have to say Bull Durham should take that one. I'm hoping.
We had lots and lots of votes. I mean, the folks from Cleveland that are helping us tabulate all the votes and giving us all the totals told us that we've had a record number of votes. You know, you do it on your phone, you just dial it on in, you text it in, and thousands and thousands have responded.
Don't forget, the winner's going to move on to the final round on Friday. Also visit Fox Sports Ohio's Facebook page at facebook.com/Fox Sports Ohio to comment on your favorite movie. We'll read some of those posts during Reds Live post-game show. And we've had some great comments, you know, of people who remember parts of movies and people who remember what they remember about what the movie meant to them. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fly ball to the right side again. Over is Bruce, but he'll run out of room. It's in the seats.
All right, Aaron, do you have a Facebook page?
No.
Smart.
I sure don't. I've heard I do have some, but I've never. Sorry, it's not me.
So then, you would not have, like Jeff Pecora and Jim Day, a Facebook site of your own?
No.
See, guys? 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's up and in. Brett Carroll's been outstanding for this ball club. At the plate, very solid in the 260s, 270s. Defensively, he's been solid in every outfield position you put him in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's inside. Aaron, we have fun. We joke a lot about these movies and a whole lot more, but I know you take your job very seriously, and that can be verified in many different ways by the way your teammates regard you, but also I know you had to be very honored to be the Reds representative for the Roberto Clemente Award this year.
Yes, I mean that just shows how many people notice what I do in the community from my teammates. I mean, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer for me. You know, it's just part of who I am. You know, I'm not. I'm here to help give back because, you know, obviously I have a you know, special gift to be able to play this game. I mean, it's a great game, and you know, for what I get for playing this game, I mean, obviously you have to give back and, you know, show appreciation to, you know, people that are, you know, less fortunate or just, you know, that want to come out and help support you. So it you know, means a lot.
It's teamwork. You and Jennifer work together on that.
Yeah, you know, she's a big part of it too. I mean, we sit down and we talk about it every year about what we're going to try and do each year. And, you know, of course, we've taken some stuff, you know, dear to our heart with the Miracle League, and you know, she's taken that Starshine Hospice, and very, very dear to her, and you know, it means a lot to, you know, get these kids out here and see the smiles on their faces and see the smiles on their parents' faces when they get to sit back and watch their kids out playing a wonderful game.
That was a pretty special day at the Miracle Field dedication. I know it really touched you guys.
Yeah, you know, it's a great facility, and you know, it's obvious they need places to play like that because, you know, when it rains, I mean, these fields get, you know, muddy, and it's hard to get wheelchairs and walkers out there for them to be able to play. And if they fall, you know, that field's set up for them. They're not going to get hurt like they normally would on a, you know, dirt field.
It's a great testimony to the kind of person you are, to your mom and dad too. They raised the pretty exceptional man.
You know, they did a great job, you know, instilling that, you know, you got to treat everybody equal. You know, you got to be treated the way you want people to treat you, and you know, with And they obviously put a lot of time and effort into the community. You know, coming up in Little League and stuff when I was playing, and you go home and it seems like everywhere you go, my parents are running into somebody they know. So it's, you know, you can't take them anywhere without getting stopped and having to talk to somebody. So, you know, they obviously, you know, touch a lot of people with what they've done, and you know, it just kind of falls in back on me as, you know, I want to be the same type of person.
We enjoy it when they get a chance to follow you, whether we go to out west someplace, and they saw your double at San Diego. They didn't see your home run though, did they?
No, you know what? I think they did see it on TV. My dad usually DVRs all my games. So
we'll back with more with Aaron Harang. Good job by Matt Maloney getting out of trouble. Reds still lead at 3-0 as we go to the bottom of 4. We're visiting with Aaron Harang. Let's flash back. July 24th at the plate. Aaron Harang, Wrigley Field in Chicago. Number 39 touches them all. How about that day?
Took me long enough. Lots of rounds of batting practice in the cage, I'll tell you that much.
I think one of the best things about that following week, you and Chris and you and myself, one of our best friends in baseball is Eddie Napoleon, used to be the former Red coach, and he was more happy than you, I think. He spent so much time with you in the batting cage, practicing your bunting, practicing the things you need to do to become a good hitter. Yeah,
you know what? I called him a couple. Well, it was about a week and a half after that, and told him, hey, I'm getting my bunts down, but I hit a home run. He goes, yeah, I saw it. He goes, I was so pumped. So yeah, he was a great guy. I mean, I couldn't sneak away from the field without getting grabbed by him. Oh, let's go in the cage, work on your button first.
Sure paid off.
It does.
Here's Ryan Hannigan as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Hannigan and Maloney, and then the top of the order, Darnell McDonald. We're visiting with Aaron Harang on the disabled list after his appendectomy. He's out for the season, but finally being cleared to do a little workout, and we're looking forward to a strong 2010 for this big red right-hander. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's a bouncer back to Sanchez, and there's 1 ball. Now here it is, time for our Aflac trivia answer. Now Moonlight was in the movie. Was he part of the White Sox team?
Well, that would be Archibald Wright Graham, who you referred to as Moonlight Graham. Was he part of the White Sox team? Well, let's find out. He was part of the Giants team, and he was known as Moonlight and Doc, although he didn't get his license to practice medicine until after he was finished playing. And I think technically, George, if you look back on his major league career, he did indeed play 2 innings in his major league career in right field. Let's see if we got it right. Appeared in 1 game, that's right. No plate appearances. Played at North Carolina and Chapel Hill.
And part of the deal was he was in the movie, and that he finally did come up. He finally did have a plate appearance.
Yeah.
What did he do? Pop up, or I'm trying to remember, but he did have a plate appearance.
Yeah, sacrifice fly.
Sacrifice fly.
After he got buzzed,
Yep.
got laid him on his back. What did he do? Wink at the guy?
Winked at him. If you build it, he will come.
Well, you know what? There's a little discussion and controversy about that, because you know how Hollywood can sometimes change reality to fit their particular fiction.
No.
And it just so happens that your good friend, David Smith, who's the founder of Retro Sheet, had did a lot of research on Moonlight Graham in his career and found out that Moonlight Graham did not indeed ever make it to the plate, that he was on deck when the final out was made, when Elliott flied out to end the top of the ninth. So Graham evidently did not make it to the plate, and I'm going to go with my Retro Sheet guy, because David Smith in the past has been pretty right on things.
He's been right on.
I'm not sure why anybody would go to such lengths to figure out exactly the career of Moonlight Graham, but Archibald Wright Graham, no appearances, a couple of innings in the outfield.
Is there anything James Earl Jones plays in that isn't great? I mean, he was something else, wasn't he?
What, pipes, huh?
Yeah. Big time. 1 ball, 1 strike to Darnell McDonald. You know, we talk, Aaron, you know, you mentioned Johnny Gomes. How about what a year for this young man? Came up, struggled, went down. He's come back, and it's been great to see him get a chance to play again, pick up a home run, lead-off home run today. What a fine young man this kid is.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy to come, have in the clubhouse, but he just comes out here to play.
Popped up and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hey, go inside Big Ten Conference football 4 nights a week with 4 unique shows on the Big Ten Football 4-pack. Our experts bring you game plan breakdowns, interviews, and analysis you won't find anywhere else. Catch Big Ten Football 4-pack every Tuesday through Friday at 10 Eastern, only on the Big Ten Network, the only cure for gridiron deficiency. You're looking forward to next year?
Yeah, I'm already, man, it's driving me crazy. I'm itching to get out there, so I figure I'm going to be itching to go in spring training, and really, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna come in and be ready to go and knock out my 200+ innings next year, and try and get us to the playoffs. That's what we wanted for a long time. I know the guys in the clubhouse are the same way.
Well, Sanchez, sir, has it working again. He strikes out everybody. Now for Sanchez, he's still in a ball game. He trails at 3-0. We'll be back with Aaron Harang after these messages.
Goodyear and the new state-of-the-art training facility. For tickets, call 381-REDS or go to reds.com.
We're going to be obsolete, not needed, Chris.
Hey,
That's
George.
good stuff.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
That's it. Thanks, Ranger.
Nice going,
Yeah, Ranger. It's going to be fun. It'd be a lot easier for you. You live in San Diego. Going to Arizona for spring training will be a lot easier.
Yeah, one last time I got to ship my car and drive out there.
Line drive, right field towards the corner. It'll be one hop and a fair ball into the corner. Coughlin rounds first, goes to second. How about Chris Coughlin? A single and 2 doubles. He's 3 for 3. Every time we've seen him in the last few weeks, watching him on TV, you're impressed. And now Chris in person, he's even more impressed.
Well, he hits a single to right field the first time up, a ground ball. Then he hits a double off the left field wall, a double down the right field line. I mean, I'm not sure where you can play this guy. He spreads it all over the place. Youngster, only been in the big league since the month of May, and one of the main reasons why the Marlins are still knocking at the door of the wild card.
So leadoff batter on here in the 5th, and here comes Nick Johnson, bounced out and hit by a pitch. What's important for this team going into 2010 as you view it, Aaron?
I think the biggest thing, I mean, everybody just kind of keep the same mentality that's going right now. You know, it's a different guy every night coming up, putting that, hitting a big hit, making a great play, to keep us, in a game. And I mean, pitching, Lear's come up, throwing very well. Maloney, he stepped in when he needs to and thrown well. Kip Wells, same thing. These guys have come in, filled in the rotation, to give us a shot to win every night.
It's always great to watch you, because I'll watch a day after a young pitcher pitches. You'll either be talking with him out in the outfield or you'll be with him in the clubhouse. Those quiet moments, and they're so important to the development of a young pitcher. What do you say to a guy like Justin Lear, gives up those solo home runs last night, but still managed to survive in a ballpark that gives up a lot of home runs? You've been there before. Yeah,
you know what? I actually played with Justin in AA in Midland, Texas, when I was with Oakland, and we played in a ballpark that was even smaller than the Great American Ballpark. And I mean, you just got to sit back and you keep those walks to a minimum. I mean, you're going to give up your home runs here, and you got to go out and keep making pitches. I mean, not worry about what happened. If you give up a solo home run, I mean, you're just, hopefully we can score one to even it right back up. It's better than giving up 2, 3 run homers. So yeah, just tell them you got to go back out there and make your pitches. Just keep the ball down the zone, and pitch one pitch at a time.
Can't walk people in this park, huh?
No. If you can keep your walks to a minimum, you're going to do fairly well in this ballpark. I mean, you got to think about it. You're going to give up your home runs here, but go out and make your pitches. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Runner to third. Reds will keep the infield back as here's Hanley Ramirez to the plate. Ramirez bounced out to short and hit a bloop to center field that Arnell McDonald made a tumbling catch of. So he's 0 for 2. Into the right field corner, that'll be into the seats, and it's a ball and a strike. How have you adapted and changed as a pitcher, knowing that you have to pitch in this ballpark? We've watched it evolve over the years.
I think the biggest thing is just going out there with confidence. I mean, no matter what happens, I mean, you got to go deep into a game and make pitches when you need to make pitches, and not worry about what's happened in the earlier parts of the game. Kind of got to go out there with a little chip on your shoulder and not really, I wouldn't say not care, but just kind of have that demeanor of, whatever happens, happens. I'm going to go out and make my pitches and, get us through a game, give us a chance to win.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Line drive, and there it is. Run batted in, number 100 on the season for Hanley Ramirez. He joined Select Company. It's the first Marlin to do it since 2007. Miguel Cabrera in the 9th Marlin overall. Big time offensive year for this guy, Chris.
No doubt about it. I mean, look at the plate coverage right there. That's a good changeup by Matt Maloney. He gets his foot down. He's striding way out there, but he keeps his bat back. Ramirez does, and he's strong enough. I mean, he's so strong that he gets the center of the bat on that ball. I mean, that's the key. If he hits it on the end, it's a ground ball to shortstop. Because he gets enough of the sweet spot, it's hard enough and into left field, and you score your first run of the game as a Marlin.
So it's a 3-1 ball game now. And you know, as you alluded to earlier, you faced Hanley before, and he's touched, I think he's got probably 4 home runs in his career off you. But how do you attack Hanley Ramirez? Is there one way to pitch to him?
Did you have to remind him?
You know, you're always going to have your few guys that really touch you up. I know, you know, talking about him, I mean, he's hit his long balls against me, but like I said, if he's going to do it, you just hope he does it with nobody on, and you know that's what he's done. I mean, you know, I got a few guys, Lance Berkman from the Astros, same thing. I think,
right?
Oh, especially here, the first, I think he was 0 for 6, or you know, or he had 6 home runs off me. He was 6 for 28 or something like that with 6 home runs. Either got him out, or he hit a home run 1 or 2.
Now, Aaron, for the second year in a row, you were on the list a lot of pitchers, every pitcher would love to not be on, which was low run support. And after a while, it has to get into your head, doesn't it?
Well, I think last year I let it get into my head more than it should have. And this year, you know what? I went out there and, you know, I did my part in the game. I went out there and kept us in the game, and you know, we went through a funk where we couldn't buy a run for a while, and you know, or we get them very sparingly, and yeah, it's part of the game of baseball. I mean, this game's a lot of luck, and there's a lot of luck involved.
But you are human.
Yeah.
No balls, 2 strikes. Maloney trying to wriggle out of this inning, trying to work a ground ball off the bat of Cantu. Here's a pop-up in the infield. Yanish camped under it. He'll haul it in, and there's your second out. And don't forget, Reds fans, gear up for the new school year with Back to School Aid presented by Fuel TV and Time Warner Cable. Simply text tonight's keyword BOON to 37664. You could win a $150 cash card plus a Fuel TV prize package. For official rules and an alternate form of entry, go to foxsports.com/Ohio. Great to see Aaron Boone yesterday, and what a special night it was. I know you're one of those players who can appreciate what Hal McCoy has meant to this franchise.
Oh, you know what? Hal's a great guy. I mean, and obviously for him to be around that long in one organization and be as loved like he is by, you know, Reds fans all over the country.
That's drilled into the alley. Round in second, going to third is Ramirez. He'll round third. They're going to send him, and he will score. So it's another double. This one by Ugla. Dan Ugla drills a double into the alley, knocks in his 80th run of the year, and all of a sudden it's a 1-run ball game, 3-2.
Well, Matt Maloney's been kind of skating on thin ice here for a while because he has not yet had an inning where it's gone 1, 2, 3. It's been one of those nights where he's had to battle out of jam after jam, and you know, the more pitches that this Florida Marlin team sees, the better that they will adjust. And if you hang a pitch out over the plate, don't get it in quite enough, you've got guys like Ramirez and Ugla that are going to hammer you. And that's exactly what happened. Boy, Ramirez is an athlete. He just can run, he can hit, he can throw. He comes all the way around from first to score on that, and it's a 1-run ball game. And that'll take Dick Pohl off his perch in the dugout to go out and talk to Matt Maloney a little bit. Quick talk. Pohl's on his way back, and Ugla's on second base.
Man, just before he left, he picked up the phone and got Ramon Ramirez up and starting to loosen in the bullpen. And you talked, Aaron, about as a young pitcher being told by Don Gullett, Dave Miley, you got 110 pitches, whether it's 3 innings or 8 innings, and now Maloney's at 95 pitches. We're here in the 5th inning and running out of gas, so Ramirez starting to loosen. And here's Cody Ross, who struck out and flied out. Hopped up. This should do it with 2 away. Who's going to take charge? Votto will. He's got it. But the Marlins score 2 here in the 5th. Reds still lead it. Aaron Harang, thanks for joining us. We look forward to a very healthy 2010, Ranger.
Thanks, George. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Ranger.
You up to speed with the AT&T Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Here's Paul Janisch, fly ball to the left. First pitch he sees. And it's hauled in by Coughlin in left for the first out in the bottom of the 5th inning. So, Chris, you talk about get over those first inning troubles, and what do? How about this guy on the mound, Anibal Sanchez? He gave up all 3 runs in the first. The leadoff hitter, Darnell McDonald, homered. And then with the bases loaded, Jay Bruce singled in 2 more to make it 3-0. Since then, he's only given up 1 base hit and 2 base runs.
You know, I remember every time I see a situation like this, I remember a conversation I had with Tom Glavine when he was pitching for the Atlanta Braves. I asked him exactly the same thing. What do you do when you don't have your good stuff and you're out there and you're in the middle of the game and you're trying to adjust? And he's harkened back to something that his pitching coach at the time, a very fine one, Leo Mazzoni, would used to tell him all the time and preach to all his pitchers, that you be stubborn with your stuff. You keep going after it. You keep using your same pitches, even though your breaking ball might not be working or your changeup may not be working at a particular batter or inning. You keep having to coming back to it time after time, because by the time you get to the 3rd or 4th or 5th inning, you're going to need all your pitches. And that's what Sanchez has done tonight. Early on, he was rolling his breaking ball up there. He wasn't finishing it. His changeup was in the dirt. His fastball, he wasn't getting good extension on. But little by little, he found some confidence, and he went through a stretch there where he struck out 3 out of 4 batters and then 4 out of 6 batters. And he's just making it look easy now for a guy that looked like he was going to be out of the game in the first 2 innings. He's giving the Marlins exactly what they needed.
And 2 quick outs here in the 5th inning. 2 fly balls to left, and here's Brandon Phillips. Oh, the exception of Janisch's double back in the 1st inning that followed the homer by Darnell McDonald, he's handled 2, 3, 4, and 5 pretty well. He walked Votto and walked Rowland in the 1st, but everything else in the middle of the lineup has been handled by Anibal Sanchez. And here's Brandon, who bounced to the pitcher and struck out. Action in the bullpen for the Florida Marlins. Tim Wood and Badenhop, Burt Badenhop, 2 righties, loosening for the Marlins. And you talked about early in the year, remember, Chris, we debated all spring would the Reds keep 11 or 12 pitchers on their whole staff. That included 5 starters. There's a liner. It's going to go into the corner. Rounding first, looking for 2 is Phillips. He'll scamper into second with another 2-base hit for Brandon Phillips, his 27th double of the season, and the Reds have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs in the 5th.
Or you get a ball up to Brandon Phillips and he'll make you pay. I'll tell you what, he'll hit it where it's pitched. Look at where this pitch is, way up here, and he's going to end up hitting that ball exactly where it's pitched, down the right field line. Phillips kind of going with it right there, waiting, letting that ball go deep on him. One of the reasons why he is such a fine hitter.
So Brandon's in scoring position, and here comes Rolen, who walked and struck out looking. 27 2-baggers for Phillips. But we talk about 11 or 12 pitchers on an entire staff. Here, there's a fly ball to right, going back, looking up, reaching up, and making the catch will be Carroll.
Jeez.
We talked about the great defense Carroll's been showing everywhere you put him. Here's a Gold Glove caliber catch by Brett Carroll. And the Reds retired, leaving a runner in scoring position.
Florida trailing Philadelphia, the defending world champs, by 7 games. So not going to happen there. They have had their sights set on the wild card, and an outside shot at the wild card at best, especially if you look at the tough schedule ahead for Gonzalez and the Florida Marlins. Reds lead here on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm in the press box tonight, and it's round 4 of our battle to figure out the best baseball movie of all time. 16 movies going head-to-head. The natural one-night ones, The Sandlot in an upset. In round 2, last night, Bull Durham in a romp, and tonight we will decide the 4th and final finalists that will go tomorrow night. And no surprise here, Field of Dreams winning 67%, as there's a line drive to center field, 1 out here in the 6th inning. And still a chance for you to have your voice be heard. 37664 is where you text your choices to. 37664. 1 for Field of Dreams, 2 for The Love of the Game, 3 for 61, and 4 for Mr. Baseball. We will have the final results coming up on Reds Live post-game. And again, tomorrow night, the 4 winners are going to go head-to-head. You will decide the best baseball movie according to at least the Reds viewers. We're also taking your comments on Facebook.com/Fox Sports Ohio. What do you think about these movies, these choices, or this contest? We're going to post some of the best comments on Reds Live postgame. So a lot coming up, George Grant.
So, JD, we've gone through 3 nights, 4th night tonight. What's your favorite movie of all the ones we've put on the bill of fare so far?
Well, if you tuned in, you know I was a little upset that The Sandlot won over Bad News Bears.
Well, that was Jesse Jackson. You know that, don't you? Jesse was in the back of the booth. He was texting
away
all night long.
I figured he would do that. But Bad News Bears is, for whatever reason, my favorite movie, my favorite baseball movie. But The Sandlot beating that in Major League was shocking to me. And I promised the people following me on Twitter and Facebook that I would watch The Sandlot. I haven't seen it, so I'm judging these movies against a movie I haven't seen. But I promise you, I will judge it and judge it objectively. But it's going to have to be really good to beat the original Bad News Bears.
How about you, Chris? What's your favorite?
I'll tell you after they win, or to tell you tomorrow night, okay? I've had my favorite for a long time. I'll disclose it the night of the Final Four.
It's the Babe Ruth story with William Bendix.
The original. Down to rolling. That's it, Ramon. 1, 2, 3 here in the 6th. We'll be back with more after this. Now it's time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. A moment to remember. Are we laughing with you? Oh, you got me with the bubble gum on my hat. A moment to remember from a ballpark near you. Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Great moments, great memories for everyone who was ever in a dugout. Great to have Danny Richard, Wilkin Castillo, and some of the guys who've been on the disabled list all year back, huh, Chris?
You know, the Reds have run through so many players on their roster. One way that we notice it every day, George, we look at the stat sheet, and our stat sheet takes up a page and a half because there's so many names on there. The Reds had to replace injured players with other players who ended up getting injured and so on. And nice to see all those guys back. Boy, it's almost like a reunion when it comes to late September like this, to see a lot of the players that were injured along the way. Now they're back hanging out in the dugout. And looking forward to 2010.
Johnny Gomes facing the new pitcher Bert Badenhop. So Sanchez goes 5 innings. He allows a total of 5 hits and 3 runs. All of the runs came in the first. A leadoff homer from Darnell McDonald, a double by Yanish, a walk to Votto, and then a walk to Roland, then a single by Bruce. Placed home 2, and it was 3-0 Cincinnati. The Reds now lead it 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Johnny, after homering last night, flied to right and ripped his 13th double of the season to left in the 3rd off Sanchez. This bullpen for the Marlins, we talk about numbers, they got 11 in the bullpen all told. 8 right-handers and 3 left-handers. Wood, Badenhop, Calera, Brendan Donnelly, the former Red, Matt Lindstrom, Christian Martinez, Brian Sanchez, and the closer Leo Nunez, all the right-handed side. Dan Meyer, Andrew Miller, and Reynel Pinto, the 3 lefties for Mark Wiley and the manager Freddie Gonzalez. And
I said to one of the coaches, I said, well, you got plenty of arms in the bullpen. He said, we have plenty of bodies in the bullpen. We're not so sure about the arms, and that's exactly what the question mark is about this Marlins team. We talked about the lack of starting pitching. I mean, if they had the Giants pitching, for instance, or even if they had the Rockies pitching, this team would probably be, you know, gunning for first place in the division rather than trying to fight for a wild card lead. But what they have done with their team is really based on you know, filling gaps, putting bandages on things, and scoring lots of runs.
And they parlayed that into contention in the East. They're 7 games back in the East and 4.5 back in the wild card at the start of play tonight.
I mean, to consider that the Marlins offensively are behind only the Philadelphia Phillies and the Colorado Rockies, and then consider the ballparks that the Phillies and the Rockies play in. I mean, if you put this Marlins team in Coors Field, you're talking about a team that scores 6 runs a game.
Dribbled out in front of the plate. Badenhop slips but recovers and throws out Johnny, so Johnny's 1 for 3. Tonight's Cabot Woodstein legendary performance back to the 17th of September 1983. Johnny bench night at Riverfront Stadium. Bench has a single and a 2-run home run in front of 53,790 fans. What a memorable night. Remember the red carpet that Johnny came out on, family, friends, and everybody there, and boy, did the place rock. It was a special night. I was fortunate to be able to be here. I was down covering the AAA World Series with A. Ray Smith down in Louisville, Mary Barney and company back in 1983. That was when Doc Gooden was making his debut with the Tidewater Tides. There's a fly ball. Coughlin, long run, will run out of room.
I'll never forget the call by Joe Nuxhall on the radio that night when Bench hit that home run. And he nearly came out of his skin, Joe did. One of the best calls he ever made.
Every one that Nuxie made was special. And he's still with us today with those calls, those memories, those moments. And for JB, a lot of great moments, that one of them for the Hall of Fame Reds catcher. Somewhere I think I still have that ticket. I don't know where. It's buried in some box somewhere, right, Chris, down in the basement?
I don't have a ticket.
Special. Jay Bruce, 1 for 2. The one was a big one, a broken bat slicing bloop into left that played it 2 in the first.
Now wait a minute. If you were down covering the Louisville, A. Ray Smith, and the AAA World Series, did you have to buy a ticket to get in, or did you just flash your press pass?
No, we just bought a ticket. Came up, bought a ticket. Swing and a miss. Bruce retired, 2 away. That was a pretty good playoff series too. And Davey Johnson was the manager of Tidewater that year. He had Doc Gooden pitching for him. John Felsky managed the Phillies AAA team that made the World Series.
Both of them obviously went on to manage the team, the big league clubs in the same organization.
John Bowles was a manager too. John eventually ended up being the manager here with the Florida Marlins. And what a great baseball man John was. A lot of fun. Great memories from a great baseball town. It's even better now with a new ballpark and great ownership and a great organization. Congratulations to the Bats again this year, making it to the postseason. Rick Sweet and Teddy Power, Smokey Garrett, they just ran out of miracles after most of their team is up here. But they had a great year. By the way, speaking of miracles, that's, you know, what the Minnesota Twins are hoping for. They start today 4.5 back of Detroit, but the Tigers have lost again. Kansas City beat Detroit 9-2. So right now Minnesota's 4 games back, and with head-to-head games to come. The White Sox are only 6 back. Anaheim and Boston tied at 3. They're in the 7th inning at Fenway Park. White Sox and Seattle are tied at 3 in Seattle. They're in the 10th. Tampa Bay leads Baltimore 2-0 in the 7th. Cleveland and Oakland still to come. First 3 of 6 between Detroit and Minnesota scheduled for this weekend. 6 left in the final 2.5 weeks of the season. That's the way it should be, huh?
Well, you like to see more races up for grabs, obviously, but as long as there's a couple up there that are still hard fought, and that's what's so important to this ball club that you're looking at right now in the Florida Marlins. I mean, they took 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals. They're on a good stretch, especially on the road, and this is a very, very important series here in Cincinnati for them.
Annian lines out to Coghlan. 1, 2, 3 go the Reds. To the 7th we go. Second homer, his first career leadoff home run. The Reds led it 1-0. Double by Giannis, walk to Votto, then a base hit by Bruce makes it 3-0. His 2-run score. Those are the Reds' runs. Meanwhile, Darnell's chipped in with a fine diving, tumbling catch in center field. And oh yeah, by the way, Brett Carroll's done some deep damage too. He's done it with the glove. Danny Uggla comes up with a big hit as the rally for the Marlins in the 5th inning produces a Ramirez single and an Uggla double and 2 runs, and Carroll comes up with a brilliant tumbling catch in right to rob the Reds of extra bases. Add it all up, 3 runs, only 5 hits for the Reds. 2 runs, 7 hits for Florida. Matt Maloney started with the first 5 and allowed those 2 runs. And that puts a smile on the face of Reds fans as he leaves with a 3-2 lead. Ramon Ramirez pitched the 6th inning, and here we go to the 7th, and here's Arthur Rhodes. First pitch, line drive, left field, base hit. How about Chris Coghlan? He's led off 4 innings. He's got 4 hits, 2 singles, 2 doubles. The kid is for real.
It is unbelievable what he has done just tonight. I know he comes in here with a lot of fanfare, having been, having had such a good season in his rookie year, having come up only in May. And among the contenders, obviously maybe the leading contender for Rookie of the Year, but he has got my vote just based on tonight. Wow.
Only been up about a half a season. It's the 3rd time he's had 4 hits in a ball game.
Unbelievable.
And he may have taken over the #1 hit total post All-Star tonight. We don't know how everybody else is doing, but he went into tonight among the leaders. He had 47 hits in August. That got him Rookie of the Month. Here's Arthur's numbers. Boy, he's been something else.
He just did it off a left-hander that's awfully tough to get base hits off of.
So he represents the tying run.
Chris Coghlan probably didn't know that Arthur Rhodes holds lefties to a batting average of 130. What is he doing up there hitting a sharply placed base hit on the first pitch he sees?
Good thing about being a rookie, you don't know, right?
You don't read the stats, you don't read the paper.
Chris, you and I hadn't had a chance to meet him. We went up to talk to him, introduce ourselves, and just a fine young man who's very humble about what he's done so far. But what we've been impressed with is the way he's carried himself, the way he plays the game, both offensively and defensively. And we kind of joked a little bit because Matt Maloney had told us that they played together at Ole Miss, as we talked about earlier, and You say, tell us something about Matt. He said, well, what I can tell you that you can say on the air is that he always thought he was a pretty good hitter. And doggone it, he must have told that to Mark Wiley, because the at-bat that Maloney had, the 2 at-bats, they didn't waste any time. They were giving him breaking balls, and they weren't just feeding him fastballs down the middle, were they?
Now, there's a pretty good breaking ball right there from Arthur Rhodes. You're right about that. Maloney wants to be a hitter. Every pitcher does, but some people will show you why they should be pitchers, and Arthur Rhodes falls in that category. Good hammer of a breaking ball right there, and he puts away a very tough Nick Johnson. Not an easy guy to strike out. Only the 15th time he has struck out as a Florida Marlin.
So Nick's retired, 1 out, 1 on, and they keep Coghlan down at first. And here comes the big trigger, Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez bounced to short, flied out, and then singled to left to knock in the first run for the Marlins. It was his 100th run batted in of the year, the 9th Marlin to accomplish that feat, 100 or more runs batted in a season, and the first in 2 years for Florida. Last year he had a big year with over 30 homers and over 30 stolen bases, joined a rare list of shortstops that have done that. Barry Larkin, of course, one of those. Larkin, Jimmy Rollins, and A-Rod, the other shortstops that have done that. This kid's the full package. And that's not even talking about his defense. I mean, he's been outstanding defensively. Had a 56-game errorless streak snapped just this week. There's a liner. Can they turn it into 2? Yes, they do. Nice job by the Reds Gold Glove second baseman Brandon Phillips. Time now for the 7th inning stretch presented by Cincinnati Bell. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, being brought to you by your local Ford dealer in the Ford F-150 2009 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. And by Aflac, we've got you under our wing. By your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit my CincinnatiHondaDealer.com for current offers. And by McDonald's of Greater Cincinnati. Well, we got a moment. I want to remind you that the Mega Million jackpot tonight has climbed to $51 million. Buy a ticket today. You could be a big winner in the Ohio Lottery. Badenhop back for another inning of work. Here's Drew Sutton, the switch hitting pinch hitter, who'll take over hitting in the 9th spot. So Sutton will try to get going for the Reds and put some insurance on the board. First fly ball to left, back at the wall. Coghlan looking up, reaching up, and he'll haul it in. By his own admission, Coghlan says he's more comfortable as an infielder. He's played second, third, and short. And he said, I'm a work in progress, but hey, whatever you hit out there, he gives it 100%. He's played solid. And you've seen what he's done offensively, 4 for 4, 2 singles, 2 doubles tonight. So Coughlin hauls in out number 1 of the 7th. Back to the top of the order, Darnell McDonald.
Well, if you can hit, they will find a position for you. In fact, that was the philosophy when they drafted Dan Uggla, who, when he was down at University of Memphis, always a much better offensive player than defensive player. In fact, that's one thing that they thought that would keep him from being in the big leagues was his defense. Well, he hit so well that they were going to stick with him, and he'd eventually come into made himself into a very fine second baseman.
Now, Chris, you talked about it. His payroll's around $38 million. At the top of the payroll list is Hanley Ramirez, who gets $5 million this year, but then he signed the big contract that kicks in next year. Uggla went to arbitration last year and makes over $5 million. The question is, will they be able to keep Dan Uggla, or might Coughlin wind up at second base if they don't keep him this offseason?
That's the one thing that you always wonder when you have a team like the Marlins that have a low payroll. They don't have very many in the way of attendance figures to where they can bolster up and have a lot of cash flow. They hope that when they get the stadium built in 2012 that they'll be able to ratchet up that payroll. But in the meantime, you hate to see the Marlins become a AAA franchise of other teams the way the Expos were for so many years. They trade away the likes of Larry Walker and one player after another every year, and it would be farm systems for the Yankees and the Red Sox. This is a very good group of players they've got down there right now.
Dribble down to third. Badenhop picks it up. It won't be in time. Second hit of the night for Darnell McDonald. He started the night with a leadoff homer in the bottom of the first. He walked and stole a base his second time up, struck out, and here's a base hit in the 7th.
And a long one and a short one. Well, the home run went a long way to start the game off. The same guy hit that one, a full swing, but a ball that only went about 15 feet. And he always runs hard to first base, and he can boot scoot it down there.
So 1 out, 1 on, and here's Giannis, who doubled and scored in the first, struck out and flied out. 4 doubles this week, 4 doubles in the last 3 ball games for Paul Giannis, a 3 double game 2 nights ago. Great to have you with us. George Grant, Chris Welch, Jim Day, Jeff McCall will be by with Reds Live post game. Our producer tonight, Christian Roberts, Brian Hunterman down in the truck, Matt Sigafus, Lauren White, Kent Dreamweaver, keeping you up to date on everything that's been going on with Reds Live pregame, Reds Live postgame. Nick Massett, speaking of guys who have been lights out, he sure has, part of that bullpen contingent, especially since David Weathers was traded to Milwaukee. He moved up a notch in the pecking order, and he ratcheted up his game too. No balls, 2 strikes. Badenhop to the stretch.
I mentioned earlier about the teamwork attitude that you have when you're a bullpen guy, but there's also a certain amount of unwritten competition. Because the middle guy wants to be the closer eventually, and the long man wants to be the middle guy. And even though you're all kind of working in the same direction, you have eyes on improving your own position. And that's what Nick Massett's been able to do, fill in for David Weathers.
Ross has it 2 away, and here comes Votto. Now through September 27th, look for the Reds ad in the community pages of the Greater Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky edition of the new Cincinnati Bell directories for your discount code for half-price Reds tickets. This offer valid for Monday through Thursday games for the remainder of the season, subject to availability. Visit reds.com/CBD for more information. Pretty good deal, huh, Jess? Yeah. Time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Sports Ohio. Join Brian Kelly and the Bearcats. They head to the Great Northwest to battle the Beavers in a non-conference showdown. The Bearcats and Oregon State Saturday at 6:30. Presented by your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Good luck to the top 20 Bearcats. Brian and crew heading out west, and we'll welcome here in the booth tomorrow night the new women's basketball coach for the Bearcats, Jamel Elliott. Hope you join us for that. Hope you join us for football on the weekend. Here's Joey. He'll face the new pitcher, Raynel Pinto, who takes over. It's a lefty-lefty matchup, Chris.
Well, it is a lefty-lefty matchup, and the one thing the Marlins don't have is that one left-handed specialist in the bullpen. Pinto gives up actually a better batting average to left-handers than he does right-handers. But he's got a nice live arm, big guy that comes right at you, and a workhorse too. 68 games now for Pinto.
Two away, runner down at first, an insurance run for the Reds. That just missed him.
Well, he can be wild. If he's looked at the stats and looked closely at him, you see that he walks nearly a batter an inning.
Votto 1 for 3 against him. And that's what Mark Wiley was alluding to before the game. He said, I'd call down to the bullpen, and you talked about it too, Chris. It's not a lot of arms, a lot of bodies. You're not sure what you're going to get each night. And if you're a manager and a pitching coach, the one thing you want to know, will your reliever bring you the same thing every night? I mean, whether it's good, bad, or whatever, you want to know what they can do for you. If it's like the proverbial box of chocolates, something different every time you reach in.
There you go on that movie thing again.
Tom Hanks hasn't done a baseball movie, but that night he spent here was pretty special with a League of Their Own. Yeah, League of Their Own.
Where's that movie on our?
It lost earlier.
Did it lose earlier?
But I mean, I think he could do. That was one kind of baseball movie. But I know he's got another one in him, and he may do it before his career is over. That night he spent here was pretty special. A long rain delay when he and Ronnie Howard were here. That was pretty neat.
That was special.
That was neat. We'll have to re-rack that one of these nights for a rain delay. There's a walk to Votto. And here comes Brandon. So they bring in the lefty to get Votto. He doesn't do it. And now the insurance run goes to second. While the pitching change takes place, he'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Hey, Reds fans, come on down to Tina's Friday night at 6. It's your chance to be on Reds Live. Asking the baseball question you need to know. Then our team will answer your question on Reds Live after the game on Fox Sports Ohio. Be part of the fun at Tina's Friday at 6. Jesse, what should they order when they go to Tina's? Chili? Chili. And a beverage of their choice? Or 6?
That chili's hot.
Little red sauce on it?
Oh, whether you like it or not. They have the meter when you walk in the door how hot the chili is that day.
Good food, good friends, great spot. Tina's downtown Cincinnati. Here's Tim Wood, who'll take over. Wood, one of those 8 right-handers in the bullpen. Second used tonight. So Pinto faces only one batter, walks the left-handed swinging Joey Votto, and here's Brandon. Brandon doubled the right last time up. He's 1 for 3.
Now, Wood's a hard thrower that the Marlins got in the 44th round out of a junior college in Phoenix, Arizona, back in 2002, and he's been the full gamut of arm repairs. He's had Tommy John surgery and labrum surgery. Man, oh man, they must put a bionic arm on him because that ball was coming in there about 95.
Man, how many times have you seen that combo of surgeries and a guy still throws this hard? Very rare.
Amazing.
I mean, elbows are pretty simple. Not simple, but an elbow surgery and repair more or less listed as routine now. But shoulder's something else. And some movement too.
Well, the rehab with the shoulder is much more. You have to be more aggressive with it. I think that's one way to characterize it. It just takes longer. I mean, oftentimes you just never really get back to your full motion, depending on whether the doctor who repairs your shoulder, if he puts a couple of extra twists in there and it's too tight, you never really get that good extension. It takes a lot of rehab and a lot of effort. He had that repair his labrum, that's a shoulder, done in 2007, just like the starting pitcher tonight, and Anibal Sanchez. Hey, Reds fans, for a great tasting meal at an unbeatable value, pick up delicious JTM Philly Kits burgers or delicious hoagies at your favorite grocer. JTM, food, family, fun.
One ball, 2 strikes to Brandon, trying to get a run in. Darnell will reach down a bunt hit off second. There's a grounded down to short. Ramirez scoops, takes care of Phillips, and the Reds will strand a pair. Still lead at 3-2, heading to the 8th. Cincinnati by 1. Under the main scoreboard in left field, the Kroger bleachers are the place to enjoy all the Reds action. Ticket prices start at just $7. And for additional savings, plan a group outing of 25 or more. Get your tickets by calling 381-REDS or go to Reds.com. Oh, Chris, we couldn't get to Kroger today, but we're fortunate we have Betty Tripke. Betty brought us the cookies, and I don't know how she makes these, but they got you talk about an assortment. You got nuts, you got chocolate chips.
I'm just glad George, she's back well enough to get in the kitchen and cook a little bit, because I know it makes her happy, and it's good to know that she's back and healthy.
She brings a smile to our face even when she doesn't bring cookies. Thanks, Betty. Here's Nick Masset, who's been bringing a smile to Reds fans' faces for a while. Boy, with the exception of one blip on the radar screen that came midpoint of the season, he has been outstanding. He'll face Jorge Cantu, Dan Uggla, and Cody Ross. We talked about the 3 doubles that the Reds got from Paul Giannis. The last time that happened in a ball game was by this guy when he was with the Reds 2 years ago. And this year's been no different for him. Cantu, one of the league leaders with 36 doubles on the season. Tonight 0 for 3. 3 balls in the air, 2 fly balls to right and a pop up to short. He can hit. I mean, the Reds fans found that out for the short period of time he was with Cincinnati.
Well, the Reds were afraid of his defense. I mean, he botched the ball fairly often down there at third base. And what he did with the Marlins this year, before they acquired Nick Johnson, he played first base and played an excellent first base. The Reds did not have room for him at first base. They wanted to play him at third. He didn't play well enough, but he's over at third base right now, playing just good enough to be in that lineup, and batting number 4.
In fact, defensively now, with the different injuries that Johnson, you see Nick in the middle of your screen there, that he's had, if they have a lead late in the game, they switch defense to third and move Cantu over to first for defensive purposes. Yep. Saw Wes Helms grabbing a bat. He's been the primary pinch hitter for this ball club as we get down to the 8th and 9th innings, just like the Reds have counted on. And there's Russ Gload next to him too. Those are 3 pretty good hitting minds together there.
Yeah, there are. And if you look up and down the Marlins lineup, I mean, just the lineup they have today. I mean, Coghlan, a rookie that's having a sensational year, yes, but Nick Johnson, I can't call him a cast-off, but he was a guy that was available from the Washington Nationals. Hanley Ramirez came from another organization. Cantu and Cody Ross were essentially giveaways by the Reds to the Marlins. Dan Uggla, they got out of the draft. Ronnie Polino was drafted 3 times or traded 3 times in a span of 24 hours. I think he went from the Pittsburgh Pirates to the Philadelphia Phillies and then down to the Marlins, so he was obviously available. So, you know, they made their team out of a lot of parts that other teams didn't really want. And you've really got to give a lot of credit to Freddie Gonzalez, the manager, for getting all these players on the same page and believing in themselves.
Down to third. You saw right in the middle of the screen sitting on the bench there, one of the greatest Reds of all time. Doesn't always come on the road with his ball club. We always get to see him when we're in Florida, but Tony Perez does travel periodically, and he's traveled back to Cincinnati. He and Patuca. There's number 24, one of the greatest Reds of all time. He and Patuca are in town. So this will be a 10-pitch at bat at least. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Next pitch will be number 10 for Masset against the right-handed swinging Cantu. Tony came with Patuca, and we said, Patuca be at the ballpark tonight? You know where she is, Chris. There's a bouncer down to second. Phillips has it. She's with Lee May's wife, Terry, and they're tearing up the town tonight, I'm sure. So a 10-pitch at bat, it's finally won. You know, we talk about run producing, and that's why that guy's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you put a key at bat in front of him, put runners in scoring position, he found a way to get it done for the Big Red Machine. What a great leader. It was a team made up of leaders, and he was one of the most integral parts. I remember after he was traded to Montreal to make room for Danny Dreesen. I remember going to spring training in Tampa when the Reds still trained at Al Lopez Field. Here's Masset delivering to Uggla. And this was about the second week of March, so spring training had been going on about a month, and I went into that little office where Sparky had his office, and of course Pete after him. And I said, how you doing? He said, not good. I said, what's the matter? He said, we lost it. You lost what? We lost the chemistry. And that's what Tony Perez brought every place he was. The chemistry. You know it when you have it. When you lose it, it's very difficult to get it back. And what a tutor he is, an outstanding hitting coach when he was here in Cincinnati, and unfortunately for just a short period of time, a manager for 2 months of one season. And then he took over as the interim manager for the Florida Marlins, turned the reins over to Jack McKeon, and Jack took this team to a World Series. What a great baseball man. What a great person.
Loves to be around the game.
Yep.
Great to see him, too.
Just a beloved
And he loves
person.
coming back here, I'll tell you that.
Yep.
In fact, I think he's doing an appearance here in town Saturday night, if I'm not mistaken.
Jesse, you got him signing someplace tomorrow?
All that old memorabilia he's been carrying around in that trunk for 20 years.
3 balls, 1 strike. Didn't catch up to that. 3-2, 95 in the right spot.
Not an easy thing to do, try to throw a high fastball by Dan Uggla. We talked about it when Aaron Harang was up here with us. Those guys who are solidly built with short arms, boy, they can get the head out on that high heater.
Oh, yeah. Uggla's body language tells you all you need to know.
There's not a whole lot that Dan Uggla can do about this pitch. I mean, you can see him freeze right there because he's not sure what that pitch is. That looks like the splitter, if I'm not mistaken, that Mick Massett has really perfected this year. He's got all 4 pitches. I mean, that was one of the intriguing things about Massett in spring training. They thought that he might be a candidate for that starting rotation, but when they put him in the bullpen, his fastball went from 92 to 97. And said, well, that makes it an easy decision, especially since the Reds had many more starting candidates and didn't have nearly as many guys that had his kind of a quality arm.
So 2 away, and here's Cody Ross. Ross struck out, flied out, popped up. This game 1 of what is a 4-game series. Johnny Cueto did not start tonight because of the flu bug that hit him. Tomorrow we'll be on the air with Reds Live at 6:30. Homer Bailey against Rick Vandenhurt. Saturday, Bronson Arroyo against Ricky Nolasco. And then Sunday, Kip Wells against Sean West. Monday, travel day to Pittsburgh, and we'll be with you Tuesday and Wednesday from Pittsburgh. Zippity-doo, zippity-doo. Nick Massett takes care of the side. 1-2-3 with 2 strikeouts. Bottom of 8 we go. Roland leads it off. Reds lead by 1. Hey, say hi to the dancing dog. Time for our John Morrell hot dog play of the night. Scott Rowland thought he had at least a double, but what a stumbling great catch from Brett Carroll to rob Rowland of at least a double and end the Reds' threat. That came after a double by Brandon Phillips, so it would have meant at least one more run. Well, the dancing dog has got a buddy in the stands. You guys haven't had a chance to see at home our statistician par excellence, Mark Wagner. There's Daddy Wags. He's wagging it tonight. He does that. Still got his fingers on the computer as he does all of that. Here's Rowland back again to lead off bottom of the 8th. By the way, we've got a message for Reds fans and people throughout Reds country. Earlier today, we had a chance to talk to Hall of Fame broadcaster Ernie Harwell, and you know Ernie's story. Hall of Fame broadcaster for so many decades with the Detroit Tigers. Age of 91, he announced just a couple of weeks ago that he has terminal cancer. And in Ernie's words, this is my toughest journey, my final journey, but I am ready for it. And that's what you expect from Ernie Harwell. Here's wood to the stretch. That's wide. And when I talked to him today, just to say hello and see how he was doing, he said, please say thank you to all the fans who have sent me notes and sent messages to me from Reds country and from everyone throughout Ohio. And that's what Ernie Harwell will do. It's always about other people. It's never about him. First thing he wanted to know was, how are the Reds doing? Second thing he wanted to know was, how was Cooperstown this year? I didn't get a chance to go. What a special person, Chris.
Wonderful man. Wonderful gentleman. Real treasure.
All we can say to Ernie is thank you for all the moments, the memories, and for so much that he's done for baseball, for players, for coaches, for managers, but for fans who sat by the radio and listened to the moments that he translated for not just Tiger fans, but for baseball fans. And he's helped so many young broadcasters. See Coco Cadero loosening in the bullpen for the Reds, with Cincinnati holding a 1-game lead here in the bottom of the 8th. One of the most talented men I was ever around, Chris. I mean, a talented writer, musical composer, and he knew every nuance of the game of baseball. They honored him last night in Detroit, and typical Ernie Harwell, he just said, I just want to have the chance to say thank you to all you fans who have made my life complete. Hall of Famer as a broadcaster, yes, but even more importantly, he and his wife Lulu, a great combo team that has made the city of Detroit better and everyone that they've touched in their lives better. Godspeed, Ernie Harwell. 1 ball, 1 strike. The double is 13th, 1 for 3. That's foul. Chris, you remember it. A lot of fans of today don't remember the old Tiger Stadium. We were able to go there 2 years ago when the last year Tiger Stadium was in existence. I remember doing a game there once with Phil Rizzuto, and that was the best broadcast location in all of baseball because the broadcast booth hung under the press box, and you were actually only 86 feet away from home plate. That's how close you were. You were closer than on the baseline.
Yeah.
And you could hear the catcher talking to the umpire. And Ernie had a screen, not a screen, a net, like a fishing net in front of his booth. So that when foul balls came back there, he was safe. And he was worried about Scooter. There goes Rowland. It's fly ball down the left field line towards the corner. It's going to be just foul. A little body English from Johnny Gomes, trying to steer it fair, but it hooked about the last 75, 80 feet. Here's a look. Here comes the hook. give John Tomer a glove down in that camera booth right there at the 328 sign, he could have caught it.
That's what you needed in the booth, that broadcast booth at Tiger Stadium. I mean, if I had heard about it, George, and
look out,
I did a game up there, I had a pencil in one hand and my glove in the other hand, because you felt like you were right on top of the action.
You're right.
And it wasn't like you're sitting up there, you know, it was like being very, very close. Just the way fans ought to be when they sit behind these dugout seats in ballparks that are so close to the action. You've got to pay attention to every pitch.
He was so worried about Scooter that he got the grounds crew guys to get another net and put it up in front of Scooter. Here's a bouncer behind the bag. Ramirez has it. He'll turn that into 2. Rolling upends Ramirez, but a 6-3 double play and the base runner erased.
Oh, you thanked Betty for her wonderful cookies tonight. I want to thank the folks from Penn Station for taking care of our crew up here in the booth tonight before the ball game with some delicious subs. Julie Rose, this goes out to you. Thank you, darling. Keep those subs coming.
Let's see, there was 8 of them. You had one, I had one. All we knew was we turned around and Jesse was sitting there and the box was empty.
With a big smile on his face.
Backhanded by Ugla. And Bruce is retired. Here we go to the 9th. Coco on his way in. The Reds have a 1-run lead. To conduct your business, a Great American Ballpark located on the club level behind home plate. It can be arranged to service your business and meeting needs year-round and starting 4 hours before each home game. For more information, contact the Red Special Events Department at 513-765-7065. Well, here comes Coco, tied for the National League lead in saves with 37, a 2-5 record. 63 innings of work, and Dusty turns it over to a guy that's helped put these numbers together, Chris.
Well, when you have this kind of number going for you and Dusty Baker, when you're 56-0 when leading after 8 innings, you're tempted to put it in the book already and write it down, but you never really know for certain. But that's about as good as it gets, unblemished. Obviously, those teams with more wins, you'd like to be in that category. 75-1, 70-1 as the Colorado Rockies and the Giants are, but that's how good Cordero has been this year. 37 of 40 and a very low earned run average. And he's pitching to the bottom of the lineup.
And he'll start it off with a pinch hitter. Here comes Ross Glode, outstanding pinch hitter. He'll start it off, rips this one into the right field corner, but foul.
And last time we saw Glode, he was in the uniform of a Kansas City Royal when the Reds went through Kansas City.
He's the #1 pinch hitter in terms of at-bats. 58 pinch hit at-bats and 17 hits. Does have a homer and 13 runs batted in as a pinch hitter. Bouncer, Phillips has it. They take care of this tough left-handed bat. For the Reds defensively, Drew Stubbs will come in and play center field. Darnell McDonald will stay in the game. McDonald will move to left, and Jay Bruce is in right. And Johnny Baker, the backup catcher for tonight, will come in to pinch hit. Glode, Baker, and Jeremy Hermida are the three left-handed bats on the lineup, and Emilio Bonifacio, the switch hitter, still available. So here's Baker. Baker batting in the 8th spot, and Wes Helms in the on-deck circle. So they're unloading their best pinch hitters they have, the two lefties, and then Helms behind them. Little giddy up last night. Coco started around 91, 92 and got it up 93, 94. He's already starting here at 95.
I'll tell you what, he looks like he feels pretty good tonight. Coming right after him. The Marlins, as you said, have been really good with their pinch hitters. In fact, they've driven in 44 runs with their pinch hitter. Compare that in the low 20s to the Reds. So when you get that kind of production off your bench, it means that you can go to it. Of course, now with an expanded roster, I think the Marlins rolled into town with something like 35 or 36, maybe 37 players on their roster. See ya.
Wow. Zips that in the inside corner. That's a call, strike 3, 2 away. Here comes Helms. Watch the glove. Never moves.
We're talking about a front door fastball, when usually when right-handers throw this, it'll be in the the high 80s, maybe around 90, 91 miles an hour. Give that ball plenty of chance to move. But when you're throwing it mid 90s and it has movement like that, they call that a fastball with some hair on it.
Well, here comes Helms. Wes, the second most used pinch hitter. He's 15 of 43. No homers, but 12 knocked in. Outstanding pinch hitter, but it's a righty-righty matchup. Helms in his career 1 for 5 against Cordero. Top of the order, Coghlan due up, and you just as soon see it end right here. I don't want to see Coghlan again tonight.
I don't want to see if he can get 5 hits in a game.
No, thank you. He's been outstanding. That's a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Not a big crowd on hand tonight, but on their feet, vocal to say the least, as they're hoping that Coco can nail down save number 38, and for the Reds a win here. Milwaukee's already won 7-4 over Chicago. Philadelphia beat Washington in the final 4-2. Atlanta leads the Mets 2-0. They're in the 3rd. Those are the only National League games. They'll take you through Coco. 1 ball, 2 strikes against Helms. Rolling. Dusty Baker and the Reds rolling along at home. They sweep and then start hopefully another sweep